lost, there's always a hope. Rise and fight.
Welcome to the BSL Season 14 GosuLeague. Yeah, this time on the official channel here for the first time. My name is Master Ray, and together with me here is Snipe. Hi.
Hey, glad to be here. Excited for some great matchups to bring you here today. As you can see on screen here, we do have our first matchup already here. We got Julia against Dsaqwe. Should be a pretty good match. ZVP, of course. Julia known for being like more aggressive of a player, and Dsaqwe pretty solid style. I do think I might favor Dsaqwe a little bit, but if Julia can get off some great cheeses or some great aggressive plays, then he can certainly take this as well. What do you think?
Yeah, Julia was very dominant in his group in the round of 16. Without dropping a single game, he advanced in first place. Dsaqwe, he lost 2 games in the round of 16. He got out in second place from his group, so he definitely seemed a little bit weaker there. So I would favor Julia slightly, but I know Dsaqwe is a very strong player anyways, and I'm sure we will see a very good game here.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to this one. I do know like Dsaqwe has some, or they both have plenty of tournament experience, but I remember like a few years back, maybe like 2016 or something now, he did make it to the finals of Team Liquid Legacy StarLeague, something like that, where he did lose to Dragon in the finals, but plenty of experience to look for him to go deep. I could see either player taking this, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll have best of 5s here, of course, in the round of 8. In the previous round we had best of 3s. Now we have a nice potential 5-game series ahead of us. And I think we are almost ready to jump in, right?
All right. I think we're going to check out the map here first. First map is going to be Good Night. Just taking a look here at the stats. Looks fairly even here for ZVP. 48%. It says 48% there, but that win rate looks more like 48%. It actually looks somewhat Zerg favored, so we'll see if Julia can take advantage of this.
Yeah, we have seen some PvZs on this map already, and overall it seems like Zergs really favor this lurker style, like getting another natural position and trying to defend that high ground with the lurker field was very popular strategy in the previous rounds. But yeah, first of all we have to get there. Protoss definitely has some good possibilities to get the gas expansion on like the 12, 3, 6 or 9 positions. Very easy to defend against Zerg with just a small ramp, so yeah, will be exciting.
Alright, I think we're ready to get into the game then. Let's do it.
Okay. Okay, and here we are with our yellow Protoss. Starting in the top left of Good Night, it is Dsaqwe.
Alright, and in the top left, in the red, it is OmniZerg, aka Julia. And yeah, first thing I'm noticing here is he is sending his Overlord in that correct direction to scout Dsaqwe right away. That'll be a little bit of a benefit for him. You know, he'll be able to get that scouting information as soon as possible and figure out what he wants to do from there.
Yes, and we have a close position here, so if we see something like a gateway expansion, gateway first, or maybe a 9 pool, of course, this will change a little bit of things. An early aggressive strategy has a higher chance to work on close position compared to cross position. But we'll have to see. Oh, and another thing is the Protoss will get the first scout off, so we will see a game where the Protoss will not be surprised by Zerglings. He will have all the information he needs and he can adjust his build accordingly.
Yeah, and because he sent that first probe out, I expect we'll be seeing some kind of a forge first opening. He will get in here and see that pool timing, be able to delay his forge just a little bit here if he wants to. And it looks like so far he has not sent out the probe. Okay, he's going to send the probe to the natural now, which means he will be getting that forge up here momentarily and go from there. Let's see if he can delay the hatchery. That'll come down just around 2 minutes here from Julia.
Yeah, he's seeing this pool timing. He knows it's not a super fast pool, so it's fine to have the forge going up a little bit later, but he definitely has to get it before the Nexus, because this is obviously a pool first build and not a hedge build. Okay, 2 drones coming out, so Julia really wants to make sure that the probe will not delay the hatchery for too long. We see him hovering at 300 minutes already, but here he places it down, so pretty much no delay. He plays it down at like 320 minutes.
Yeah, maybe just a couple of seconds there. Of course, the Overlord does now scout and see what's going on here. Dsaqwe feeling comfortable to throw down that thick 13 Nexus, and I'm sure we'll see a 13 cannon fall up as well. A little bit of a engage there with the probe chasing that, or drone chasing that probe, sorry. See if he can't catch it and maybe kill it off. It is getting a few hits in, so he's going to have to be a little bit careful. Really don't want to lose that first scouting probe, especially against a player like Julia who can throw some aggressive strategies out at you, which is why I don't mind this choice of going for that forge from Dsaqwe just because it's safer. And if there was something aggressive he maybe didn't get that first scout off, he can still like defend and be perfectly fine against most things that Julia would throw at him.
Yeah, and we're at the level where even these little attacks by the drone on the probe can make a difference. We saw the probe already got some damage on the HP, not only on the shield, so there is some damage that will not recharge, and that could mean that it will die a little bit earlier against the Zerglings. And as you mentioned, like Julia likes to play some aggressive strategies sometimes, so it can really make a difference here. But so far the probe confirms the third base location and now is trying to get into the main. Is there a drone on the ramp? Okay, it's a Zergling and a drone here. No problem.
Oh no. Bit unfortunate for him. He really wants to get back in that main and confirm what the tech is. Like, for all he knows, this could be some kind of a 3-hatch Hydra. This could be Lair. Like, as Protoss, you really want to confirm that. If you don't know what's going on, you have to play extra safe, and that just kind of puts you behind if you try and hedge all bets. Or you take your chances that, hey, he's not going to do this, or I think he's going to do that. And then you end up just dying or losing to something else if he does it. So a little bit of an uncomfortable position here for Protoss, not having that full scouting information. We'll see how he wants to react, and if he throws down maybe a safety cannon or just tries to get his Corsairs out as quickly as possible and where he wants to go from here.
Yeah, we also see that he's not producing Zealots so far, so we obviously saw the double cannon. Some Protosses go for only one cannon and then produce Zealots. Dsaqwe here with a very late Zealot production, so it's not like he has like 3 Zealots here and he can send it to the Zerg to get some additional scout information. So it's really important that he keeps the probe alive and that he checks the natural of the Zerg every once in a while so that he could see potential Hydralisks popping out.
Yeah, no, I just saw that the probe did go down to that Ling on the map, so no more scouting around, and he never really confirmed if this was a Lair or Hydras at all. So as we can see, it is a Lair, so he's not really going to die or have any early pressure. But he doesn't know that, so we may see him kind of react to that. There's the Stargate and Citadel coming up. We may see him throw down an extra cannon as a safety cannon just because he does not know if it's Hydras. Of course, that would be kind of useless to him at this point in time. But he does not have that scouting information. And we actually do have a Hydra Den here starting as the Lair finishes up. So we could see maybe some kind of a Lurker drop or Lurker bust, or even just drops for Hydras. It could be any number of things, but a little bit different than your standard straight-up Zerg play here.
I think it could also be just for that timing. So the Overlord was in the main of the Protoss, and it scouted the Stargate, and yeah, with that the core timing obviously. So obviously you need to get at least like 3 Hydra out or so to defend the core there. But usually, if in a normal Zerg build, we see usually an evolution chamber together with that. I don't think we have seen this, so this could indeed be a very big early Hydra aggression coming.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Another thing I've noticed on Dsaqwe's side is he never took his second gas. Normally you would have taken your second gas by now and be working towards getting those high Templars out. With only one gas, you're not going to really be able to afford as many high Templars as you might normally want. He is starting to take it now. Corsair does pick off a kill, which is nice. Yeah, we do see a cannon going in the main, and that just goes to show that he has no idea what he's up against. He's just assuming that this is standard, and there's going to be Scourge flying into his main base here. Getting that as an anti-Scourge cannon, and of course if they're going for a low number of Mutalisks. But as we can see, there's no Spire even built here by the Zerg.
Yes, and the core there is scouting across everything now. There are the Evolution Chambers, so at this point everything looks rather normal on Zerg side here. Yeah, but we will see a very nice big Zealot aggression coming.
Yeah, also, as was pointed out, Lurker upgrade is on the way. So it looks like the plan was maybe to go for quick Lurkers or try and get a quick Lurker contain, which could definitely be strong on this map. But we do have the Zealots now moving out here. +1 is done. They're moving across. Does Julia have enough to really defend this? I didn't see any sunken colonies or anything at the natural, so he's going to be relying mostly on units here to defend.
Yeah, also not a super nice wall on the natural, but here at the third base, there's a pretty good wall. This Duncan is, okay, actually no wall, no drone pull here at least. So the Zealots get on top of the Duncan, and this is a big problem for Julia. I mean, sure he can defend this all the time, but he's losing drone, he's losing mining time, he's getting a not so nice trade. He might even lose all the Hydras here. Okay, 2 more Hydras spawn, so I guess he will clear it overall, but it's definitely not a good trade for Julia.
Yeah, well, a few more Zealots streaming in here. It looks like all the Zealots are going to kill all the Hydras here. This is actually some real damage. Lurker being more, of course, Dsaqwe sees this. So now he knows what's up, and I would expect to see him throw down actually a Robo here fairly soon. When he can afford it, but damage has been dealt. Even like Julia's not going to die from this attack, but the damage is done, and you got to give the advantage to Dsaqwe in this game.
Yeah, 100%. Like once the Protoss killed all the Hydras and all the drones at the third base, then you know, okay, Protoss is really far ahead. Of course, we have to remember he delayed the Templar archive for this attack a little bit, so the Templar production has just now been starting, so the first Templars spawned here. So if there is a huge Hydra swing and he kills the Zealots, yes, Dsaqwe has to be careful that he doesn't get caught without too many storms.
Yeah, now Robo has been started, but there is going to be a little bit of time before those first observers can pop out. We do see Dsaqwe taking this seriously, throwing down some more cannons there. There are a couple of lurkers moving across the map. Okay, is this going to be a drop? They're moving up to the top there. Yeah, it looks like they just got loaded into an Overlord. So this is going to be a drop. There is one cannon there, a couple more finishing up. Will they get out before those cannons finish, though? If he targets the probes, he can still get a lot of probe damage done. We'll see how the pull is. All right, Lurker's coming out now. Here's the barrel. Very quick reaction. Looks like, oh, he does lose a few probes there at least. 9 probe kills already. Wow. Some nice damage there from Julia. He needed to make these kinds of plays if he wants to, you know, continue to fight, and I think that was pretty good for him, but maybe you still got to stay a little bit favored here for Dsaqwe.
Yeah, it was a good job. 9 kills is fine, but it was definitely not like more damage than Protoss did before. So we can still see in the top right the count is still far in Protoss' favor, and the fact that this lurker drop was cleared very quickly. Protoss is back to mining, didn't lose a lot of mining time, so this is totally fine for Dsaqwe.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Zerg wants to try that again now. Of course, Dsaqwe knows that this is an option. We can even see he throws down another cannon there just to prepare himself for this option. A bunch of Dark Templar actually just popping out. So maybe, looks like we're going to see probably a Dark Templar drop here towards the main. He even just cleared out an Overlord that would have been scouting for this. So I like what Dsaqwe is doing here, sending his Corsairs across first. This is scouting for anything Zerg that might scout this drop, or any Overlords in the path. He just wants to clear that path so that Shuttle can get in and drop these DTs off in the main.
Yeah, and the Shuttle is flying towards the main. There was a Zergling, but the Zealots also cleared it, so he's not making sure that there's no Overlord, but he also made sure that there's no Zergling in that moment. There's a little lurk in the main, but that can't really do anything because there's a very good coverage of cannon. But yeah, it looked like maybe Julia expected the shuttle because the Overlord and the Zergling was cleared. So looks to be ready here with 5 Hydras and an Overlord. Yeah, more Hydras streaming in, so this will not do a lot of damage. 4 Hydras got killed, but overall the 3 DTs are defended. So the game goes on. The worker count almost even at this point. So Julia was able to make a lot of drones in the meantime, and I think we have to see in third base for our Protoss players soon, or a big attack that does some damage, because otherwise I think Julia could come back in this game.
No, I agree. I think Julia did a great job defending that drop and droning up here. As you can see, like you pointed out, the worker count's very similar. Now, Dsaqwe is massing up a pretty good army, and it looks like he is going towards taking that third base, like you said. Ooh, just dodging those Scourge there. Looks like he wants to take the mineral only, or maybe not. He's sending the probe now towards the gas base. So it does look like he's going to take that gas base. I kind of like this choice more. You do want that gas as Protoss. That mineral base only has 6 mineral patches too, I believe. So a little bit nicer choice there. Now, meanwhile, he is going to continue to mass up his army, and once it's big enough and he kind of secures this third base, I would expect to see him try and move across the map, see if he can't maybe deny Zerg's 4th base, or find a place where Zerg's a little bit weaker he can attack into.
Yeah, on the other side, we see Julia also taking another base here with the 4th base as the mineral only. That could be attacked very easily from the bottom. In the bottom right there is this new expansion. From that high ground, from the bottom, it can be attacked very nicely by the Protoss player. And also, we just saw that Protoss has 2-1 upgrades against only 1-0 for the Zerg, so Dsaqwe also really continuing his upgrades, and he's building a very strong army, and I'm pretty sure once the cannons on the third base are up, this army will move towards the Zerg and try to do some damage.
Yeah, we'll see if he can get anything done. One thing I'm noticing, not a lot of goons in that army, but in saying that, a group of goons is coming out from the natural now. Gonna meet up with that army, and then maybe he can start shelling down. Oh, Lurker Overlord's gonna have to drop out some lurkers there. Looked like he was maybe wanting to go for a lurker drop at that third base. A couple of cannons are in position to maybe help deny that, but also Julia taking a 5th base here at another mineral only. What do you think about this, taking 2 mineral only bases? Also closer to Protoss. Doesn't feel like maybe that's the best option there.
Yeah, I would really like him to secure another natural, like the bottom right natural, so that he has 2 more gases at hand. Here it could be dangerous if Dsaqwe gets some good trades and has map control with his big army, could eventually just starve Julia out, because Julia will have no other gas base.
Well, here comes the main army of Dsaqwe now. Easily just going to clean up that 4th base there as it finished up. It wasn't even mining yet, so nice little pick off there for Dsaqwe. And if he can continue to do this kind of thing, stop Zerg from ever getting a 4th base up and running, then Dsaqwe is just going to run away with this game. Like, Zerg really needs to secure a couple more bases, especially now that Dsaqwe's on 3 himself. 3 base Protoss against 3 base Zerg. If Protoss just keeps denying bases forever, they'll just trade more effectively and eventually overrun Zerg here.
Yeah, I'm really trying to think how Julia can get out of this situation, but I don't really see any ways. This Protoss army is just completely dominating the map, and he's really going back and forth, trying to see where Julia tries to get out of his base. And yeah, he finds a new base here, and he will just crush it again. And
let's
Julia
see.
really is losing options here.
Yeah, a couple of nice storms going down here from the Protoss army, killing a bunch of Hydras and Lurkers. Going to be able to take out this base here once again and just back out, and that's really all Dsaqwe needs to do. You can see he's playing this very well, knowing exactly what he needs to do. I would like to see him maybe retreat out of this position now that he's killed this base. He only has Dragoons left, so you got to be a little bit careful. You don't want to lose the bulk of your Dragoon army. If your army gets reset, that's one way that Zerg can kind of fight back and he feels safe to take a couple of bases for themselves.
Yeah, for sure. You always want to retreat with your gas units, and especially if the storms are all used up. If you have no storms in your army left, definitely always retreat as a Protoss. Another thing I want to point out, we just saw very nicely why, in my opinion, the mineral-only bases on this map are just not good bases. We could see Julia was trying to defend his mineral-only base, but all his units have to funnel through a little ramp, and the Protoss can just storm that one angle that DarK is coming from all the time, and it's always a good trade for the Protoss. But hold that thought, we have another action here in the bottom left. Julia trying to deny the bottom left expansion that Dsaqwe is trying to secure. The cannons are finishing here, and the army of Dsaqwe will make short work of these 4 Zerglings, and this will be base number 4 for the Protoss.
Yeah.
Julia has to do something.
Yeah, one nice thing there. Did manage to pick off that probe, so it is going to slow that base down a little bit, but I don't think Dsaqwe is going to mind too much cleaning that up. He does have 3 Zealots here hitting the hatchery. I like this base location from Julia, but it looks like this may end up going down here before the Zerglings get in. So another base killed there for Julia. He is setting up base at that mineral only once again as well. We'll see if he can hold it this time. Looks like there's a group of units down there. If he can never get a 4th base up and running, like even a 4th gas would be more important. Like this mineral base isn't the most important thing in the world. Yeah, it keeps him alive for now. He is going to start mining this. Oh, DT coming in here. No Overlords. Going to get a bunch of Zergling kills. Okay, a couple of Overlords will come over now and clean that up. But of course, Dsaqwe knows about this base, so we'll see if he can go in and kill it again.
Yeah, I also really like Dsaqwe's vision here and scouting. He's always going back and forth. He has a DT at the top of at the 12 o'clock position. He had some Zealots in the bottom right. He has, I think, an observer on the right side there in front of the 3rd base. Or yeah, okay, it's another DT. So very good vision by our Protoss player, and he can just make sure that Julia will not grow anymore. And if you can prevent a Zerg from growing, then you win the game. But now we have Defilers in the mix, so this will be a lot harder for Protoss from now on.
Yeah, all of a sudden Dragoons lose a lot of value here. Nice little play going down. Only hitting a few units, getting some damage in there, but still it's some damage, right? And he does throw out that Dark Swarm, kind of preventing Dsaqwe from pushing into that 4th base. So Julia will be able to hold on to that for now. Oh, a Lurker getting dropped over here. Nice tactics here from Julia. Just doing anything he can kind of slow down the growth of Protoss here. Force him to spend some attention there, just cleaning that up. But it's still, I still got to say, Dsaqwe is in a very commanding position here. Kills a drone there with that DT. As you can see, Julia's still trying to get a 5th base set up, even a 4th gas. And yeah, like we've been saying, that's kind of the story of this game. Dsaqwe's going to be on his 4 bases here, eventually going to clean up that Lurker. I don't imagine it'll kill off that Nexus. But yeah, looking very solid now. Julia does have a lot of supply. I don't know where all this supply is. Supply-wise, he's in a fine spot, but just looking at the overall base or the overall game state here, you still got to say Protoss looks to be in a good position, especially if he can get this 4th base up and running here.
Yeah, for sure. The supply, I think, is mostly in Lurkers, but Lurkers are very defensive units, very stationary, and we see a lot of Lurkers at the 4th base, but this is not really an army that can go out on the map and attack the Protoss. It's really hard to attack with Lurkers. So as Dsaqwe, he doesn't have to worry about his expansions getting attacked. He can just really use the army to go back and forth in the center of the map and just prevent Julia from taking new bases. Julia, I think, just cleared the 12 o'clock, so this could be another nice location for an expansion. Yeah, we see the drone going there already. And if he gets Lurkers up there, that could be another expansion that Dsaqwe cannot attack that easily.
Yeah, a very important one. It looks like another Lurker drop. Oh, six kills on that Lurker. So nice little drop there. But it looks like Dsaqwe will clean that up. Now, yeah, as you're saying, another little Zergling drop here, but Dsaqwe more than ready with a bunch of cannons all around in his Nexus here. I would expect to actually see him take that 5th base here soon on the low ground. But for now, yeah, like you said, if Julia gets that 12 o'clock, and it looks like Julia's even taking maybe a hidden base at 6 o'clock there. So if these bases go unscouted, or, you know, if Dsaqwe can't punish these bases and they get up, all of a sudden Julia's looking to be in a very strong position, especially, like, Julia's taking 3 bases now, even bottom right. So surely Julia's just like, I'm going to throw down 3 hatcheries. One of them's got to stick, right? At least one of them. And I think he probably will get away with at least that one at the bottom.
Yeah, and really, once there are Lurkers and Sunkens and maybe Spore, up on that high ground with its small ramp, Dsaqwe cannot really kill it anymore. Even if the base is very far away from the rest of the territory of the Zerg, it can still be very well defended. For example, with Nidases as well.
Yeah, agreed. Now, I don't know, can you still say, I mean, I guess Dsaqwe's still in a good position here, but Julia's fighting back really well. Now it looks like, okay, Dsaqwe is going to find this bottom right base and be able to clean that up, although it looks like he's sending all his units away. Okay, he's going to send one unit to kill it. The DT should be able to eventually knock that down unless Julia can get a few units over there to defend. But still roaming the map, looks like he is going to get in position to block this, so that DT should be able to kill that off.
Yeah, I mean, Dsaqwe is doing a very nice job here, really preventing Julia from getting his units into a position to either defend or take a new base or to attack the Protoss. So, very nice job there. But if I think about like 3 minutes from now, Dsaqwe has to be in the bottom right to continually make sure that Julia is not taking the bottom right 2 expansions. But if the army is bottom right, like now, Julia could just backstab the natural of the Protoss. So
oh, what is this?
Oh my god.
Sorry to cut you off. Recall. We did not even see this. I didn't even know he was making arbiters, but recall from Dsaqwe onto the 12 o'clock base. Just well clean this up, it looks like. Killing off that hatchery, so nice little move there. Group of armies still being able to kill at the bottom as well, but will he get this? A bunch of units streaming in here, but the arbiter, okay, we'll cloak with them. Of course there is some overlays here, so never mind that. But yeah, a bunch of units streaming in here. Will he be able to kill off the hatchery? He does kill that off, so nice plays there from Dsaqwe, and he does find that 6 o'clock position as well. So everything we're just saying, like maybe Julia's gonna fight back, all of a sudden everything just got reset in an instant here, losing all 3 of those bases that he was kind of taking or banking on. Now all of a sudden we have a Zerg just mining off of 2 bases, and one of them is only that 6 mineral patch mineral only. So situation's getting pretty dire here for Julia. I gotta say, it's looking really hard for him to come back in this game.
Yeah, and with arbiters and recall being an option here for the Protoss, forget everything I said about an expansion being easy to defend with just a small ramp. He can just recall in the 6 o'clock if Julia tries to take it again. But yeah, I think the main focus point on this map is now the bottom right. Like, if Julia cannot secure the bottom 2 expansions, the bottom right 2 expansions, the game will end. Julia will be out of minerals and out of gas. And yeah, Dsaqwe is doing the exact right thing here. He's trying to prevent exactly that. Natural on the bottom right, the army's already there. Very nice trade again, killing a lot of lurkers for almost losing no units, and there is the GG. Nothing left for Julia. 1-0 for our Protoss player.
Yeah, nice game. I gotta say, like, it looked pretty good for Dsaqwe. Like, it just looked like he was maybe even a step above in that macro style game. So I am a bit worried for Julia if things tend to favor towards the macro style games. But if Julia can bring out some aggressive cheeses, maybe he can do something and take a couple of games from Dsaqwe that way.
Yeah, we saw Dsaqwe getting a big advantage with that mass speed zealot attack, and from that point on, Dsaqwe was able to play extra safe against drops because he knew he was ahead. He was just making an extra cannon here, an extra cannon there, and Julia's aggression did not work because Dsaqwe was just playing super safe. If we see a game where Dsaqwe cannot get an early advantage, I'm sure he will maybe cut some corners and not get an extra cannon everywhere, and then we could really see Julia's aggression working.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. We'll have to see what the next game brings. Now, I'm not sure how the map pick is. It just like the first map was decided and then loser pick maybe? I'm not entirely sure. So this could be Julia's map pick as well?
Yeah,
I
would guess so. Yeah.
Then
So what is going on in the round of 8? The players are banning. One player is banning one map, second player is banning second map, and then players are picking map. So one player is picking first map, second player is picking second map, and when they pick 5 maps, they can start the match.
Okay, so all the maps were decided beforehand. So we're not entirely sure if this was Julia's pick or Dsaqwe's pick then. All right.
Yeah, I'm so with two bands in the mix. I'm curious to see if the players banned the new maps or maybe they banned some like old ladder maps. But usually, what we see in most of these tournaments is that players just like to play maps that they are familiar with. So usually they ban the new maps. But I think we have 3 very new maps in like Butter, Monopoly, and Turbine. So at least one of them will get played here. And
If
yeah,
it goes 5
looking
games.
forward. If it goes 5 games, yeah.
All right. So next map is Butter. Zero confirming for us. The next map will be Butter. 2-player map. Definitely a bit interesting, a bit different. It looks like we're going to have it up on screen here. I have played this a couple of times myself. Definitely plays a little different or interesting. I think we talked about it in earlier rounds where sometimes units or armies can end up missing each other because there's a lot of different pathways you can kind of take up and down. You can almost see it on the map here, just like little lanes kind of. And it's easy for armies or units to miss each other, and all of a sudden an army shows up at your base you weren't expecting. So I think having good scouting across the map is important here. And just being able to control like the high ground areas, lots of different high ground areas you can kind of fight from against Zerg. I think Master Ray was talking about that before. So we'll have to see if the players can take advantage of that on this map.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. Sorry.
So sorry, I missed information. Okay. We are ready to start, guys. The game is loaded. Game number 2 between Julia and Dsaqwe, with Dsaqwe leading 1-0. And here we go. We are on Butter, and in the top right, we can see our Zerg player spawning. It is Julia.
All right. And in the bottom left, or bottom right, sorry, we have our brown Protoss. It is Dsaqwe. Gotta say, this color does blend in a little bit with the map. I'm not sure if this is TVB. We can change it to blue and red. Doesn't look like we can, unfortunately. So we'll just have to deal with it. But yeah, we'll see what the players want to do here.
Yeah, so regarding what you said, that these high grounds can be abused in the mid game a little bit. So I think if the game goes a little bit like last game, where we see Julia being on 4 bases and then Dsaqwe having a big army in the middle of the map, I think the situation on this map will be even easier for Dsaqwe because he can use that army to really easily prevent the 5th base because of that high ground. So there are like 4 bases that are on the low ground or pretty much in the corner of the map, and then you have to fight up a high ground to get to your 5th base, and that could be a crucial point in this game.
Yeah, and knowing that, I would maybe like to see Julia go for something a little bit more aggressive. Try and maybe stop Dsaqwe from getting to that point in the game where he can just kind of abuse that middle ramps and take control of the game like he did last game. But we do see, once again, Forge first. I think this is a fine choice. Dsaqwe, of course, is going to be well practiced in Forge since he's fairly old school, played for a long time. He knows the ins and outs of this. And I think against someone like Julia, it's a perfectly safe, fine way to play, and probably the correct decision if you were to ask me. So.
Yeah, and the probe is active here again. Can it deny the hatchery? We see minerals are at 300 for Julia. So far, first block got off, but again, Julia gets it down rather quickly. Maybe delay of 50 minerals here, but overall, no big deal here. On the other side, Dsaqwe gets his own Nexus, of course. He can see that there are no Zerglings coming his way, so he's totally fine with getting the Nexus before his Cannoneer.
Yeah, once again, 13-13, so very, very similar opening to last game here from both players, right? Got that hatchery denied just for a few seconds, gets that Nexus and Cannon on 13. So pretty much the exact same openers, I will say. We'll see if the players want to change it up, go for something different. Looks like a few lings are being made here. Only one cannon was made this time for Dsaqwe. We'll see if he throws down a second cannon, seeing all these lings. Okay, there is a second cannon, actually. Just threw it in a slightly different location. All right, and there comes the gateway. So Dsaqwe should be fine against these lings coming across the map.
Yes. So third base for Julia was taken on the right side here. So this is a base that is on a high ground, and there are two little ramps leading towards this base. There's another possible option on the left side of the natural, but that base is on low ground and a little bit harder to defend, but further away from your opponent. So this is a little trade-off you have to do. Like, do you take the third base closer to the opponent, but on high ground with small ramp, or do you take the base that is further away, but a little bit more open?
Yeah, and we've definitely seen both options taken here in Gosu. We haven't seen Butter a ton, but I have seen, Zergs play it both ways. So it's always interesting to kind of see what any particular Zerg thinks might be the best option here, or which way they want to go. It could also be kind of telling on maybe what kind of strategy they want to play. If it's further away, maybe they're like, okay, I'm going to sit back and play a little more defensive. If it's closer, maybe they want to be a little bit more aggressive. But totally depends on the Zerg, I would say. So it's kind of nice how we have that option on this map where it's not necessarily like, oh, this is the third base location, this is where you take it. It gives like the option, so some variety, right, depending on the Zerg, which one they want to take. Now, we'll see. Probe's still alive, scouting around. It hasn't really got back into that main base to check if this is something like 3-hatch Hydra or if it was Lair once again. So we'll keep an eye on that if Dsaqwe can ever find out or figure out what kind of Zerg is doing here.
Yeah, Julia is doing a good job following the probe with one Zergling and then using the remaining 5 Zerglings to deny the probe from getting near the natural here. So
yeah, definitely.
No scout information again, like the last game.
Definitely heads up play, but we do have a Stargate being started. As we can see, it is the Lair just finishing up now. I'll see if he throws down the Spire or if he wants to go for that Hydralisk Den again, like we saw in the last game.
Yeah, I mean, last game it was a pretty normal build for Julia until the Lurker drop, I guess. The Lurker drop is a little bit more unusual, but so far it's really the same game here. But here we just saw the first difference. There is a Spire. We didn't see that in the last game. This game we have an early Spire. I'm sure the Corsair is fast enough to scout this in time. But maybe he tries to kill the Overlord first and then it could get close. But never mind, the probe is getting into the main anyways. So very nice position here for Dsaqwe, getting all the scouting information. And this means the Corsair can safely go for an Overlord kill.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that probe scouted that second gas timing. I was keeping an eye on those gases there, just to see if Julia wanted to take that a little bit sooner. An earlier second gas can be telling that maybe he wants to, go heavier onto the Mutalisks. With this gas timing, it will probably just be for Scourge, or maybe as many as like 5 Mutalisks or so, just to help defend. But we do have a group of Zealots now coming in towards the third base, kind of unexpected here. And now they're going to get maybe a couple of drone kills. Yeah, 2 drones go down. It's going to force some units. Oh, even a cancel there. So nice little harassment here from Dsaqwe, getting some Zealots across the map unscouted. Really putting some pressure here on Julia early.
Yeah, it looked like there was no Zergling in front of the natural of Dsaqwe, so completely surprising our Zerg player here, and this is again a huge advantage for the Protoss. So much lost mining time, and this game could look similar to last game because of this.
Yeah, we saw what happened last time. Dsaqwe got that early advantage. Now there are a bunch of links being made, so of course Julia is not going to die from this, but once again the damage has really been done. Forced a lot of lost mining time, forced a lot of Zerglings to be made, and still 3 Zealots alive trading out here. Even going to force another little bit of a drone pull. So these 4 Zealots or 5, another one streaming in here, just worth so much value here for Dsaqwe. I would maybe stop sending these Zealots, although looks like Speed just finished up, so does he have +1 as well? Looks like he does, so this is actually getting kind of dangerous here for Julia.
Yeah, too much damage, I want to say already, because Julia was trying to get to the Mutalisk, but this attack was hitting perfectly before the Mutalisks were out. So Dsaqwe decided to not wait for the +1 speed. He attacked a little bit beforehand, and I think that really surprised Julia here.
Yeah, definitely agree. Like, once again, Julia does clean this up, but if he can't get any counter damage done, then Dsaqwe's just going to be well ahead. Look at the worker count, 44 against 24, 26 now. But, like, he's just way ahead in workers. You know, killed a couple of buildings there, killed some drones. Now, we do have some mutas flying in, so if Julia can find some counter damage, maybe he can get back in, but he's going to need a lot of counter damage. And with all these cannons here, Corsair's done, it really feels like Dsaqwe's going to be able to defend anything that Julia's able to throw at him here. So, once again, Dsaqwe's in a very, very good-looking position here, and I think he's going to be able to possibly do what he did last game.
Yeah, because of the damage that Dsaqwe was doing, he is able to afford that extra cannon once again. 3 cannons in the main. Tried to get the third in the natural here, but Julia found a nice spot, killing that 1 cannon, now killing an Archon even. So the Mutalisks did some damage already, and there's still the gas probes that are pretty undefended. So maybe can do some more damage even and get back into the game.
Well, we do have a couple more Zealots streaming into this third base location once again. Looks like they managed to pick off 1 drone before getting killed, so not too much damage. Nice defense there from Julia. Yeah, like you said, those mutas did kill off that Archon. Did find a little bit of damage, but I don't think it was nearly enough, so you still got to favor Dsaqwe's position here. However, what is that a drone on the left side of the map, or is it just an overlord or something? Okay, it's just an overlord. I wondered if Julia was maybe going to try and take a hidden base over there, but does not look like that's the case at the moment now. The mutas are going to continue to harass this gas, and they actually found a nice spot where no cannons can hit them. So maybe eventually they can pick that off, and that would really slow Protoss down. In fact, Protoss only has 1 probe mining from there at the moment, so if he doesn't notice that for a long time, that's going to be very hurtful for him moving forward.
Yes, especially because the first 2 High Templars were forced to merge into an Archon, which was also killed. So Dsaqwe is already low on the High Templars, so if he doesn't mine the gas from the second simulator, then he will have some problem in the mid game for sure. Okay, but yeah, it looks like he fixed it, some probe dancing around there, but he had 3 in there. Oh, but Julia instead only having 2 there. So this should be a mistake as well. I don't know if there's some weird build where you cut 1 drone from gas mining. I don't think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. Now, we do have a good group of Mutalisks have been amassed here from Julia. There's not a ton of anti-air, like +1 for the Corsair. Okay, there is actually 6 Corsairs there. +1 air is about to finish off as well. So with that and a few Dragoons, I think he's got more than enough to defend against the Mutalisks, especially with all the cannons if they try and fly in. And it looks like that's where they're headed right now, to the main. It looks like the Corsairs just missed them. Gonna have to turn around with the mutas diving in here. There are 3 cannons to buy him some time, so we'll see. Hopefully he doesn't get those Mutalisks trapped in here from the Corsairs to take a lot of damage. But the Scourge are doing a nice job protecting. Well placed there, and they're gonna fly in. Oh, but they do eat a lot of damage, losing only 1 or 2 Mutalisks there though. Now another group, big army coming in here for Dsaqwe. He gets on top of the sunken end spore. Sounds like there's a lurker in here, no observers, but 1 lurker I guess is not going to mind too much. Now with the second lurker in here, he's going to have to take that a little bit more seriously. Some Mutalisks flying in, so this should clean up this army. Not a ton of damage done, just killing off the static defense mostly here from Julia.
Yeah, it looked very good in the beginning for Dsaqwe, but the lurkers and the Mutalisks coming back really stopped this attack. I'm a bit surprised that Dsaqwe let the Mutalisks go back to help defend. He definitely had the air control. And oh, loses another Corsair here, so he has to be careful. When the Corsair count is reduced too much, then those Mutalisks could start sniping the already low amount of High Templars.
Yeah, I also wonder if he will make a couple more Corsairs to kind of replenish that fact, just so we can keep on par with that flock of Mutalisks. And now we have a pylon over here on the left, so it looks like Dsaqwe is going to have to take his 3rd base, kind of skipping over one of the bases maybe. I'm not sure about taking that location. Maybe it's supposed to be a hidden base, or maybe he just doesn't know the map well enough. But Mutalisks flying in once again, picking off a few probes and flying out. But here come the Corsairs now, and Julia's not watching the Mutalisks. Oh no, ton of splash damage going down. Let's see the moving shot as well. Yeah, very nice moving shot. Julia does get a split, but all those metas are very damaged now. So nice play there from Dsaqwe.
Yes, for sure. So we can see it in the supply. The Dsaqwe 50 supply ahead. Of course, Protoss should be ahead of the Zerg player, but I think this is the supply difference that is a little bit bigger than usual. So now we get into this, early late game phase where Zerg player tries to get the 4th base up. We see the first lurkers, and the Dsaqwe has a big army in the middle of the map, and now he wants to try to prevent additional bases again. And this 4th base so far has no lurkers defending it, so again the Dsaqwe very nice timing, will probably check for the 4th base to be built and then will deny it.
Alright, the mutas do fly in, eat a lot of storms, but it looks like they picked off every single High Templar here with this army. Now, is there enough Hydras and Lurkers to deal with this army without Storm? I'm not sure. It's still a pretty big Protoss army here. Now, a few Lurkers are getting burrowed down here. We'll see how the fight goes. A couple of observers here as well. I think some of the Protoss army got split up, so fighting a smaller chunk of that army is going to help Julia trade more effectively here. Now, the rest of the army does come in, but I think the Protoss just barely enough here, but with reinforcements, Julia should be able to clean this up. Looks like the 4th base was denied there from Dsaqwe during that. But having his army reset like this is going to mean it's going to be a couple of minutes before he can get out and really pressure the map again, which should give Julia time to get his 4th base set up there.
Yes, that was an awesome trade for Julia, even if Dsaqwe initially won the fight and only the reinforcements of Julia cleared it, but overall it was just a very nice trade. As a Protoss, if you don't have storms in your army and you fight a big Hydra Lurker army, it can never be a good trade. So this is definitely a good possibility for Julia to get back into the game, because now Dsaqwe has to rebuild the army. It will take some time, and that time can be used by Julia to really secure the next expansion with Lurkers, with Sunkens, with Spores. So Dsaqwe will not be ready in time to kill that expansion again before the creep is up.
Yeah, and it looks like maybe Dsaqwe is going to think about taking his own 4th base. They're clearing that out. Now, I still don't think Julia has scouted Dsaqwe's 3rd base, so he also might be reading the situation wrong here, right? He might be thinking, okay, Protoss is still on 2 bases. I confirmed there's still no 3rd base, so Julia might be thinking he's in a much better position than he actually is, and play according to that. Now, that 4th base is going to finish there now for Zerg. Okay, there was a DT there. Looks like Julia will be able to get that out of there, so the DT will fall, and now Julia will be able to start mining. But it looks like Dsaqwe has started to move out on the map here with his army. And this is kind of what I said, a couple of little armies here missing each other in the middle. A group of Hydras will find a group of goons here, maybe pick them off or force a retreat. Meanwhile, that main army from Dsaqwe is still heading up towards the 4th base, see if he can't deny it. But as long as Julia can get an army in position in time, I think he should be able to hold that location.
Yeah, the expansion is done, the creep is here, but no spines, Sunkens and Spores in position. The Lurkers just in time barely get in position, and this is still a very hard attack for the Protoss. Oh, no observer here initially, and the storms are also very late, so it looks like all the Zealots already disappeared, and I think Julia can really hold this base.
Yeah, Dragoons going down here, no Templars. It looks like the base is actually going to go down at least. Like, a group of Dragoons at the top are going to target that base down, so that's a nice pickoff. But once again, Dsaqwe loses his army here for it. Not sure if that was worth it. I mean, maybe, because it's 3 base on 3 base. Anytime you reset the Zerg base, it's good. But he once again lost his full army, so still giving Julia chances here to fight back in the game.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it was a good trade. Even if he killed the hatchery, I think it was an awesome trade for Julia. You can see the supply. Earlier it was 45 supply difference or so. Now it's only, what is it, 10? So this was perfect for Julia. And I want to talk about one other option that is possible on this map. There could be a big drop into the Protoss main base. This is very common on this map because there's just such a short distance on the right side. As a Protoss, it's very good to take this base that we are looking at right here, because this basically covers the main base as well behind this. So this is very good base for Protoss to take. So far he doesn't have that, so there could be some drops coming.
Yeah, very good point that you bring up. There is a DT here that could scout for that, but there's also an Overlord there. So you're gonna have to be careful. One DT isn't gonna like buy him the time he necessarily needs if a drop flies over it there. So definitely an option. We did see some drops from Julia last game. We'll have to keep that in mind, but at the moment it looks like Dsaqwe is still kind of wandering the map. And now that the supplies are so close and Dsaqwe kind of threw away that army, it's giving Julia the chance to take even another base. So we do see 5th base coming down for Julia. Hive Tech on the way. This is looking a lot better of a position for him than we saw in game 1 at this point in time.
Yes, because of the very nice 2 big fights for Julia with very good trades, he was able to secure more bases. And yes, even if Protoss also has a lot of bases, it's still always better for Zerg if he has a very healthy economy and can get to max supply even maybe. And then Zerg just has so much more options. And this map is also like the Protoss is very spread apart. Like the main base is on the very right side of the map, and then there are expansions on the very left side of the map. So this is usually a very good situation for Zerg because Zerg is very mobile and he can do very like multiple attacks on different locations on the map very easy on this map.
Yeah, we did see Dsaqwe kind of poke in there with the Corsair and his army just to see if maybe he could get some damage done or take out a base, but Julia well in position there. One thing we do have to note here is that since the map is so long, there's a lot of places lurkers can kind of move. Will have to be repositioned if Dsaqwe finds a place he wants to attack, right? So that's something that could kind of task the APM of Julia or the multitasking. Now it looks like we do have a lurker drop coming over here from Julia towards that base. A couple of cannons in position, so will he commit to it? Looks like yes, he will still fly in here. We'll see if this can get anything done. Both lurkers do fall. Nice spines going down here. Oh, killing most if not all of these probes here. A lot of probes go down. I don't know exactly how many probe kills that was, but nice drop there from Julia. Just going to slow Protoss down a bit. Going to force some more probes to be made or transferred over there, as you can see. Looks like Julia maybe wants to set up another base, and Protoss wanting to take that base you talked about earlier, where he can be in position to defend against drops.
Yeah, but meanwhile on the left side we see a small group of Zerg units going, yeah, killing this DT and moving towards the very left expansion of the Protoss. So I don't think that army is big enough to break anything, but once the Defilers are out, and you can see they are right now, but once they get over to the Protoss base, it's really difficult, and we know only like 20 Zerglings can kill a Protoss base with a Defiler.
Yeah, now looking at the supplies, we actually see Julia has spiked up in supply here and is ahead of supply at Dsaqwe, so really gotta like his position in this game there at the moment. He's got higher drone count as well. So Julia really in a good position. Oh, Arbiter Tech here once again from Dsaqwe, and Recall just being our start and the first Arbiter. So we may see something like we saw last time where we just go for an Arbiter Recall at one of these bases. Dsaqwe saying, I don't want to play, you know, try and bash my army against a wall of lurkers. I'm just going to play around that if I can. Play going down, catching some of that Protoss army. Huge Dragoon. Oh, another play going down. Huge Dragoon army here. I'm a little bit worried about that army being mostly Dragoons, especially with the Filers out on the map. A couple of Dark Storms would negate that. We also have Ultralisks out on the map. Now, Dragoons actually do pretty well against Ultras, as long as there's no Defilers in the mix. But of course, there is going to be some Defilers out here, so we'll see. Julia taking another base. Looks like Dsaqwe will kill that off, or at least deny it there. Yeah, this is looking pretty close. I gotta like Julia's position now.
And if we really look at the end game on this map, it will come down to the 2 bases that are between the players on the very right side and on the very left side. There are 2 bases that are pretty much shared on the 2 halves of the map. So that will be a point where players will fight and try to take the base. But yeah, I have to agree that like Julia is looking very good here, and at this point when there are like 3-3 upgrades, Defilers, Ultralist, everything, Protoss needs a lot of Archons in the mix. Otherwise, he cannot really defend the strong Ultralist army. He has 4 Archons right now, which is already not bad. But as you mentioned, like with the many Dragoons, I still think it's not enough. Reavers is a very important unit that you have to get in the very late game versus Zerg as well. And so far, we don't see this, so I'm really scared for the Dsaqwe.
Yeah, we'll see. Like you said, this could very well come down to a fight between those last two bases, or for those last two bases, right? Now, Julia does have a bit of the high ground there, kind of forcing Dsaqwe's army to stay on his side of the map. Looks like he wants to set up that base on the right side. He does have a probe over there, starting to build maybe a pylon or something. Oh no, probe is still there, but hasn't built anything just yet. Now, still so many Dragoons in this army. Now, it looks like Julia is gearing up for maybe a big attack here. A lot of his army coming out towards the middle of the map, but also at the same time, Dsaqwe is pushing up here on this high ground third base of Julia. Not maybe the most important bases, a lot of it's been mined out, but still killing this base off is going to kill 3 hatcheries, Evo chamber, some mining, gas mining, and all that production. But here comes the army now from Julia, some Lings and Ultras swarming in from both sides, a couple of Lurkers in the back as well. We'll see how the storms are, nice storm coming down. Will this be enough? Will Dsaqwe hold on here, or will Julia be able to overwhelm this army? A lot of Lings still flooding in, but the Dragoons on the high ground are doing really well. Looks like Dsaqwe does have enough. Would have loved to have seen a couple of Defilers here. I feel like a couple of Dark Swarms really would have changed the tide of this battle for Julia.
Yeah, very strong fight for Dsaqwe. Sadly, he doesn't have... Okay, he has an Observer now, so he can clear those Lurkers. Overall, Julia, with the reinforcements, is able to push the Dsaqwe's army back. But that was a good fight. Like, yeah, as you mentioned, no Defiler in the fight, and also a nice position for the Dsaqwe, and all the Zerg units had to get up a small ramp or across that bridge. So very hard fight for Julia.
Yeah, now we do have a group of Zealots here on the left trying to take out this new base from Julia, but it looks like he's got enough there to hold on to that. So we'll have to see if he goes back there again. Critical point now. The supply has swung back in Dsaqwe's favor, but not by a lot. Like you can see, it's pretty much even supply, more or less here, right? So they still got to say that Zerg's in a fine position, but maybe a little bit closer of a position than it was after that fight, since it was such a good trade. Now Dsaqwe did lose a good chunk of his army, but a lot of that was Dragoons, and you don't want a ton of Dragoons here in the late game. So that's just going to allow him to replace his army with maybe some more Archons and Zealots, maybe be able to get some Reavers in there if he wants. We still don't see any Reavers though. Nidus Canal's coming up as well, so Julia really getting ready to defend this base. A couple of Arbiters out here too. We'll see if they can be of any use here. Nice play going down, catching a few of the units and forcing them into this position. Okay, looks like Dsaqwe will notice and turn around before going in there.
Yeah, and with the Nidus as well. It should be an easy defense for Julia. All the Scourges are almost hitting the Arbiter here. Random Lurker getting picked off by the Dsaqwe, and now where is the next focus point here? I think it looks like the left base here is pretty secured for Julia. So now I think the attention shifts to the right side of the map. If Julia can secure this base as well, he will be up 2 bases overall, and he will win the game eventually. So really the Dsaqwe has to do something now. He has to prevent this expansion or go to the left side.
Hey, there you go. We got a stasis on a group of Hydras. Not something you see every day there, hey, but it works. He had to do it to kind of protect it. Now we do have a Lurker drop in this mineral line. Will they get some kills here? One Lurker still alive. Oh, and the cannons don't reach it, so kind of burrowed under minerals there. Excuse me, 11 kills, 12 kills. 12 kills, so nice drop there, and it's going to be a little bit before you can... Okay, there's a High Templar there, but can he even click those minerals to storm? Like, how did that Lurker get buried under the minerals, right? Can he even storm that location properly? I'm not sure, but interestingly enough. Now, we do have Dsaqwe coming up here. Looks like Dsaqwe found an opening where he can actually get in here and maybe kill this base off. Again, not a ton of minerals left here, but there's still enough that Julia wants to keep mining it. Like, he still could retake that later. And we do have this army now going across here. So if Dsaqwe can take out both of these bases, all of a sudden these extra bases from Julia aren't quite as crucial as they might have otherwise been. So nice moves here from Dsaqwe. Where's the army of Julia? Like, he's got to defend this, right?
Yeah, this is a very, very nice attack by Dsaqwe. He totally got across the full map without Julia noticing him. So this is something you mentioned that can happen on this map, that armies just are not seen here in the middle. And yeah, we see it here. 2 bases taken away from Julia. This was such a nice move, and this could bring Dsaqwe into a winning position here.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. It was looking really good there for Julia for a while, but losing those 2 bases is a huge setback. You can even see it in the supply now. Julia down to 37 drones and 120 supply versus almost maxed army of Protoss. It feels like there was just a swing here, and now Protoss is in a pretty commanding position. We'll see if he can take out another base, and if he can, like, take out one of these other 2 bases, I feel like Julia's probably going to end up losing this game now.
Yeah, you can really see how important it is that Protosses are not attacking into lurker, like defended bases with lurkers, but instead try to attack places where there's no defense. So, very nice job by Dsaqwe here. We see a little fight, a Dark Swarm, but the army is just too small for Julia, and there's nothing left but to GG.
Wow. Yeah, so Julia loses that. I mean, that game was looking like Julia maybe had that one in the bag, but Dsaqwe finds a way to win, and now he's up 2-0, so pressure's on. Like, Julia has to win all 3 of these next matches if he wants to stay alive in this tournament.
Yeah, 2 very strong games for Dsaqwe, but we definitely saw that Julia is able to be even an advantage against Dsaqwe, and he can definitely take the game. So it's not like Dsaqwe completely dominated Julia so far. Julia can definitely still take this.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Looks like our next map is going to be Turbine. So maybe the players actually did ban some of the more common maps, and we're interested in playing some of these more unique maps. I'm not sure if we're going to get the picture of it up here on screen in a moment, but definitely a different map. Yeah, so there it is. Doesn't look like it doesn't look like we have the stats on it, but definitely, you know, a unique, different kind of a map here where you have a natural base very, very close in your main base. We did talk about it a bit in previous rounds, but yeah, this definitely favors, you know, early expansion, so I would not be surprised to see maybe Hatch first coming out of Zerg this time, or Protoss probably like gate expand. You don't really need an early forge on this map, not really at any danger, so I would expect to see, you know, our Protoss player maybe open for a gateway and then a Nexus and play a little bit greedier of a game.
Yeah, for sure. I think we have not seen a long PvZ on this map. I definitely have never seen these other bases taken that are not in the starting position. So we have not seen a long game here. So I'm looking forward to it. And this time, by the way, at least the viewers in the chat cannot complain about the percentages. Still, we have no set here.
That's right. All right, so I think we're ready to jump into game number 3 here on Turbine between Dsaqwe and Julia. Do or die time for Julia. Can he pull it out? Let's find out.
Okay, and here we are on the left side of Turbine. We have the red Zerg. It is Julia.
All right, and on the right side, we have our gray Protoss. It is Dsaqwe. So I gotta ask, is Dsaqwe just like picking the colors that blend in with the map? Because I mean, last time we had the brown color on that brown map, right? This time we have the gray color on the gray map. I mean, maybe he's doing it to try and psych Julia out or something, or I don't know, maybe he doesn't like casters, who knows. But anyways, yeah, we'll have to see what our players want to do. So far, we have seen Dsaqwe open up with that Forge both games, but really, I don't think we'll see him do that here. It's not really... It's really kind of no advantage to opening up Forge on this map.
Yeah, I remember in the round of 16 we had Iriador, who's also in the chat right now. We saw him like having a very prepared build for this map with like Bald Queen Hydra timing attack against Terran or with a drop even. So that was very nice, looked very prepared and specific for this map. And I hope we have something like this again here in this game.
Yeah, I agree. That was a very... Oh, wow. Okay, prove us wrong, Dsaqwe, and go ahead and throw down that Forge. So maybe that's just he's just super comfortable playing standard straight up. He's just like, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go Forge. I'm just gonna play what I know and do that. Even after scouting the pool timing here from Julius, so I'm a bit interested by that choice, but we'll see. I mean, it's worked for him in the first 2 games. He's probably just thinking, I'll just play it like a normal map and just see where it goes.
Yeah, Pro did take some damage here once again. Yeah, could matter when the Zerglings are out, but so far nothing crazy to scout here anyways. Nexus is going down, of course, he can see no Zerglings on the way, same as the previous 2 games, so he gets the 13 Nexus followed by the 13 Cannon. So very standard so far, once again.
Yeah, it definitely seems like he just likes playing the same kind of style, same way. Nothing wrong with that, of course, if it can get you those wins, and it has been working for him so far. So I guess his thought is, why change it up, right? I've won the first 2 games with it, I might as well just stick with it. So we'll see. Yeah, looks like second cannon being thrown down there before, or as well. Yeah, Julia can't quite see that second cannon either. I am a bit interested about the second cannon. I guess it's because he doesn't have that scouting information, and because he only saw 1 or 2. There's only been 2 Zerglings made, so you gotta maybe favor Julia in the early game. Dsaqwe is just kind of putting himself behind for no real benefit, really, no real reason.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think on this map, especially, you don't need the second cannon that much because the entrance is a lot smaller compared to the wide open natural of other maps. So here it could be enough to just pull like 2 probes if there's really danger coming, so then you're safe anyways. So yeah, the Dsaqwe, it looks like he's playing the same build every game and doesn't really adapt to the map.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, even going the Forge Cannon in the first place, I do question a little bit. Doesn't really feel like he's playing the map. I can understand like he feels comfortable with that. That's his way of playing. It's worked for him so far, so maybe that's why he does it. But the 2 cannons definitely feels overcommitted. So maybe he's just, his thought process too is like, I know Julia can be an aggressive player. I just want to be extra safe and play standard. I know I can take him in a long game. And I can understand that line of thinking as well. But at the same time, it's like, how safe can you get away with before it's hurting you too much that you do fall behind or do lose the game to the other player, right?
Yeah, for sure. We saw some discussion about the wall on this map for the Protoss, and I think we can definitely say that this is a perfect wall. The gateway should come like 2 spots above the pylon, very far away from the ramp. No, but in all seriousness, you don't really need a wall like you do on other maps because you have a ramp. So this is a very different map. This is not a standard map. Your natural is inside of your main base, and you have a ramp that is also blocked partly by 2 creep colonies. So even without the wall, you have the same gap that you have on other maps with a wall. So you don't need a wall here.
Okay, so one thing I noticed from Julia here is he took his second gas a lot earlier this game and just threw down that Spire. So I actually think we're going to see a heavier commit to Mutalisks this time around from Julia. And I actually don't mind it, especially for this map, because he is going to change it out. And this map kind of has like a wide range of angles you can fly in at. And a lot of different places you kind of have to defend here. So I think Julia's playing to the map a little bit better than maybe Dsaqwe is. Now, that doesn't mean Julia's just going to straight up win the game with the Mutalisks or anything. But Dsaqwe is definitely going to have to prepare a little bit more and be wary that the Mutalisks can kind of fly in from a lot of different angles.
Yeah. That being said, however, the minerals are directed to the edge of the map and not to the edge of the base, so there's not like a cliff behind the mineral line that you can fly over with Mutalisks or so. They are very defended by the edge of the map. So you only need cannons at the very top and very bottom at your base, and I think the front is partly guarded by the cannons that are near the ramp anyway. So I think it's still fine on this map. I don't think you have to invest like so much more compared to other maps.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe he can find something like pick up one of those gateways or something, but we'll have to see. Of course, first Corsair has gotten over here now. It hasn't really... I didn't notice if it flew into the main and natural to kind of confirm this. But he does see a couple of Scourge popping out. Looks like a lot of gas has been spent, so I do expect like Mutalisks on the way here. Cannons are being thrown down. There's the first couple of Mutalisks popping out here now. We'll see if the Dsaqwe is going to be ready for this or not.
Yeah, the core is not spinning, but we have the target blinking, so there's the second Corsair here, third Corsair actually, never mind. And now that he will see the Mutalisk, I think he will probably start producing more Corsairs. The cannon is not done, and the first probes are going down already, so the timing is a little bit off here for the Dsaqwe, and now he already lost some probes, and now it's much harder to defend the Mutalisk when they're already inside of your base killing probes.
Yeah, and now he will defend this, and oh, I don't like that. Okay, Julia is going to fly away now, but maybe staying a little bit too long over that cannon. We do have actually Zealots coming across the map, and not a lot back at home here for Julia to defend. Didn't really catch the move out maybe, or wasn't really SimCity'd up for this. Now a bunch of Zealots getting into the main. This is going to force Julia to come back here. Hydralisk is being hatched, so not as heavy of a commit to Mutalisk as I may have thought, but this is some serious damage. Yeah, okay, GG is called.
Wow.
Very quick. Game number 3. Wow. Yeah, Dsaqwe takes it down 3-0.
Yeah, crazy. Like, all 3 games, Julia was surprised by the speed zealot attack. Every single game. So, yeah, that was a little bit unfortunate for him, but that means the Dsaqwe takes it very convincingly with a 3-0. Congratulations to him.
Yeah, and it does kind of surprise me, like players at these levels taking so much damage early on, right? Like, okay, Dsaqwe maybe cut some corners in a couple of these games or did a little sneaky attack, but you gotta like know or notice these things and be able to react to them. Because we just saw like every single game Dsaqwe got an advantage from the Zealots, and in this game he just went straight up with them. So very nicely played from him, strong games, and congratulations to him. He moves on to that next round, into the round of 4.
Yes. Which is DarK versus NbA. What do you think about this snipe?
Yeah, mirror match, so gonna find out who's maybe better at the mirror match. Of course, in PvP you can get some, you know, build order type wins. We'll talk about that more if we get into those kinds of situations, but just looking at their MMRs here, it does look like NbA finished a little bit higher on the ladder, but a lot less games. And their BSL, ELO, DarK is favored a little bit. Now, I am a little bit curious if this is going to be PvP or ZVP. I think DarK has played some ZVP in the past, so I'm not sure if this is PvP or ZVP for sure. I mean, according to this, it's going to be a PvP, so maybe he's a little bit weaker in this matchup compared to NbA, so just based on that, I would favor NbA in this matchup, but being PvP, I think this could easily go either direction.
Yeah, for sure. The matchup can be very different compared to like the overall skill of a player. Sometimes, like, some players really love PvP and some players really hate it, and yeah, it can be very different depending on the player.
A lot of times it can come down to that control too, who's better at controlling in small fights and getting that early advantage, or just the builder pick. Now, NbA looked really strong in that last round. Like, he won his group last round, I believe. He looked stronger than I expected, and he ended up playing in BSL ProLeague as well. There was a last-minute cancel, of course, from Legend, right, who dropped out, and he took his spot. So that just goes to show that he was right on that border of ProLeague anyway. So maybe he's a little bit favored here. Going to be a strong match, but looks like we got our first map here. Going to be Turbine once again. We just saw it. For PvP, could be a little interesting. Could be something like a 12 next, but we're about ready to jump into that game here. So we'll see what the players want to do.
Yeah, let's jump in. Okay, and here we are on Turbine with our yellow Protoss spawning on the left side. It is DarK.
All right, and on the right side of the map, repping that DM tag in the magenta, it is NbA. So same spawns as last game, and yeah, as I started to say, we could see some different strategies because you have that little main base, like earlier nexuses for sure than you might normally see on a low ground natural. You can easily get away with 12 nexus is a lot less punishable here. A lot of times when you see a Protoss go for a 12 nexus, it's punished by some kind of a proxy robo or something. that is not really possible here. A proxy robo outside your base can't really crawl in to punish the natural. And you don't really need a lot of cannons to defend it either, so I would actually not even be surprised if both players went for that on this map, or if someone wants to try and maybe abuse the fact and try and put on some early pressure to maybe punish someone trying to get away with the 12 minutes.
Yeah, but for that I think we would already see a probe moving out for like a proxy gateway. This is not the case here. Both players also building the pylon very close to the nexus and not close to the ramp, so this usually tells us the players want to go for fast expansion, and we see both players over 200 minerals already, so we will indeed see a double 12 nexus here, which is unexpected or like unusual in a normal game on a normal map, but here on Turbine I think it's probably the most common build, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, both players going for 12 nexus, almost kind of expected, because you can't really punish it the same way you would punish a 12 nexus on a normal map. So both players playing to the map here so far. Now this is of course going to give them plenty of options. We'll see when the other player scouts. It does look like DarK is going out to scout first, but he's also sending his probe to the bottom of the map. So he is going to scout that location. Not going to scout him first location and going to scout second location. So we'll see what players want to do. NbA is going to play this a little more blind, get that economy rolling a little bit more. We'll see if he plays a little bit safer version of 12 next. So far, both players just going for the 1 gate. And it looks like gas here. Okay, NbA going for the 2 gate. Since he didn't scout, doesn't know what's coming, he's going to get that second gate to play a little bit safer. So yeah, we're just going to have fairly standard 2 slightly different variations here and see where the players go once they scout what they're up against.
Yeah, and you could probably say on this map, I don't think the Zealots will do a lot for NbA, so maybe a little bit of an advantage for DarK getting the gas a little bit earlier so he can go into some tech earlier, for example, like Reaver drops, stuff like that. But we'll see, maybe NbA knows that and will prepare accordingly.
Yeah, and of course, DarK does get that scouting information first, so he knows exactly what's up. He knows he's against 2-gate 12 next version, whereas NbA is still in the dark. He doesn't even know that he's up against 12 next. At the moment, he may assume that could be what it is, but he doesn't know for sure. And he is going to get that probe in here very shortly, though, and be able to confirm the build, although it's just going to chill outside the base here for a minute. And now he notices, sends it back in. He will get confirmation. He will see that the core is done, go down and hopefully scout the Nexus and confirm that as well. But just looking at the build, he can probably assume there's a Nexus, as there's some minerals missing just looking at what he has.
Yeah, and we can see NbA is not sending his own zealots, so yeah, as I said, okay, he is sending it, but the goon will be out way before the 3 zealots arrive, if DarK will it immediately after zealot, of course. So I expect the goon to go out of the base and already start harassing zealots so they get weakened before they reach the base.
Yeah, even a shield batter here, so he wants to try and just hold this ramp as long as possible. The Dragoon is going to kind of chase that probe, but so the Zealots are going to get up here before the Dragoon can do any real damage, and before that's done, so maybe NbA can find his way into the base here and start getting a little bit of probe kills or something.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised that there's no further reaction by DarK, but you can see only 1 Zealot can attack on this map at a time, so yeah, this map is just not very good for early Zealot aggression, and yeah, even with no probe pull and no goon going out and damaging the Zealots beforehand, this is an easy defense for DarK. And now he can chase the Zealots down and he will probably kill at least 1 more of them, so very good trade for DarK so far.
Yeah, I would normally say, like, okay, this is already looking like a very good position for DarK, like he's got the advantage, but looking at the probe count behind this, DarK has cut a lot of probes for his build here. Like we can see they had the exact same build, but NbA is already up 6-7 probes now. So I don't know if DarK's just forgetting his probe production or he cut it on purpose or what's going on there. But yeah, despite DarK having that earlier tech advantage, NbA has a little bit of an early economy advantage here. So while DarK has that contain going on now, it's not necessarily going to last here.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he's producing probes now, so I have to assume that he probably maybe panicked a little bit when the attack came from NbA, so maybe he cut some probes to get the shield battery up earlier or so. Either way, this means we have a strong advantage for NbA, and with this contain not being like reinforced or anything like that, NbA will get out on the map eventually, and he should have a bigger army eventually.
Yeah, now we do have another deviation on both sides. NbA is going for that Templar tech here, whereas DarK is going for both Observers and Reavers at the same time. We'll see if he makes the Observer first. I kind of expect him to. He should, because he doesn't have the scouting information. But if he makes that Reaver first, the DT could maybe force his way in there, or at least get a couple of free kills. If the Observer comes out first, then he should be perfectly fine and be able to defend. And actually, it looks like DarK is taking even a third base here on that low ground right away. So very early third coming out from DarK.
Oh yeah, and if he produces the Observer before the Reaver, that means he should be safe against this DT opening by NbA. And with that third base, yeah, there's Observer. So he will be totally safe against this DT opening. And with that early third base, he will definitely... yeah, okay. This...
Okay,
yeah, okay,
he did notice.
Saw it. Okay, wow, that was close.
Yeah, if that Observer continued on, maybe you'd take some damage, but the Observer does notice come back. Oh, a second Observer was made anyway, so even before the Reaver, so perfectly fine here. And now NbA is going to see that third Nexus already like halfway down here, or maybe a little bit more. So he's got to be questioning, okay, where do I go from here? My tech was countered. This guy's going to have a third base. Where do I go? Looks like Storm is being researched. So I think this is a good choice, going for some economy harass, knowing that his economy is going to be behind. I think we're going to probably see some storm drops coming in from him in a little bit here. We do have his robo done. Meanwhile, on DarK side, first Reaver is being produced. I'm a little bit curious on the choice to continue to produce Reavers, like a second coming out, knowing that his opponent does have Templar. Usually you want to try and start transitioning into Templar yourself. So we'll see if he does that or if he wants to continue on the Reavers. With the Citadel coming up, I think we'll eventually see that Templar transition.
Yeah, and in the late game, you definitely want to mainly focus on like High Templar and Archons or Templar tech in general. But maybe DarK will use the Reavers as an harassment tool, not really to be in the fight, because in the fight, yeah, they will probably get stormed very easily, but as a harassment with Speed Shuttle, for example, it could very well do some serious damage. But I also want to mention the possibilities for storms here on the mineral line. On the third base, you see that there's only a very slim wall behind the mineral line. So if you have an Observer, you can storm across that little wall there and really hit the probes from the center of the base. So storm is very strong here. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, NbA is moving out now with his first shuttle. And one thing I want to go back and point out that when you talked about him building the Reavers and going for storm drops eventually, it's the fact that DarK is going to be able to get speed shuttles out where NbA isn't without adding in a support bay, right? The fact that he already has that support bay means his harassment is going to be able to be a little bit more effective. You know, speed shuttles can fly in and unload their Templars a lot quicker than a slow shuttle, especially as the game gets later here. But we'll see how this first one comes in. He is flying in here now. Nothing really in position to scout for this. Has he noticed yet? Okay, Templar are coming out. He has not noticed. Big storms coming down. 9, 10, 11 probes killed from that first storm here. He already maybe had a little bit of that economic advantage in the early game. Of course, DarK has that third base, but will he get the second storm off? Templar down. Oh, Storm does get off, but doesn't really get any probe kills. 0 probe kills on that second Templar, even though 2 storms went off. Even storming his own Zone Dragoon, that second Templar did get another storm off for another 5 kills there for a total of 16. So that's not bad. We do see that NbA does have a few worker lead, but of course DarK still has that extra Nexus that he can produce some workers on and continue to mine from while NbA sets up his third.
Yeah, definitely very nice zone drop. 16 kills is probably more than you usually expect. Even with the second High Templar only getting like 1 kill. But okay, we see NbA moving across the maps. The supply are very similar, so I don't think he can really get into the third base here. The third base open to 2 sides, but they are very narrow openings, so I don't think you can really attack into there, especially with 2 Reavers being in position. but he can definitely try to do a little like soft contain on DarK if he just make sure DarK cannot go out, and then maybe do some storms from behind on the mineral line.
Yeah, well, we'll see. This army is definitely very zealot heavy, and Reavers do good against that, but there's also some storms in there. And a couple of storms on those Reavers could take them out quickly. So this could come down to like how the engage goes, how the control is from both sides, if he wants to actually push in there. So far, it looks like he's just content to sit out here. But that Dragoon comes out and kind of pokes out here. We'll see if that triggers him to go in. Looks like it's not. He's going to come back. Yeah, this is what you were saying. Okay, an Observer's flying in here to give him vision over this. Now he could just move a couple of Templar and really storm this. And yeah, he is going to abuse this fact, and DarK is not watching for this, so he's going to kill so many probes. Oh my god. How many probes go down there? 15 on one Templar, 8 on the other, 23 killed. Now this Reaver is also going to get stormed. God. Oh, the Reaver barely actually survives there, but okay, a couple of shots, maybe that. Oh, a huge storm coming down from DarK on the army of NbA here as well, hitting a ton of zealots. Yeah, definitely can't attack in there now, but very nice storms. You can see it in the probe difference now. NbA just way ahead in probes. I don't know if he should be attacking in here though. I feel like this would be a mistake to attack. Okay, he is going to retreat, and rightly so for now, and regroup his army. But we also see DarK or NbA side him setting up a 4th base here to really take his economy advantage to the next level.
Yes, and you really don't have to attack in here. You just have to hold this position, and then you can forever deny the mining from the third. But all the thought, DarK is trying to move out, and he has a very good position. NbA Zealots very clumped up, took some really crazy storms, and also with the Reavers, NbA has to move back. He had a pretty big supply lead, but that supply lead pretty much vanished at this point. But we have to remember that he still has a way bigger probe count, so we expect NbA to shoot up in supply once again.
Yeah, especially that he's going to have that 4th base earlier, so he's going to have access to a 3rd gas sooner. But now DarK is moving out onto the map. He does have the high ground here. If the armies do engage here at the moment, it's going to be a bit advantageous. But there are a couple of storms here, so he's going to have to watch out. Or maybe there aren't not enough energy actually for those storms. So now may be the time for DarK to push forward if he wants to catch part of this army. If NbA can get into a favorable position here, I don't think DarK can continue to push. But it looks like he's just content to sit back here for now and regroup and get in some reinforcements before he pushes further.
Yeah, and here you can see DarK not having High Templar, he cannot really harass this base that easily. Okay, yes, that one. Oh my god, okay, the Reaver gets an awesome shot in. Oh, and oh wow, the gateway is really blocking the pathway for NbA. Wow, this is a very nice attack by DarK. In the end, NbA will probably defend, but very good trade for DarK, I feel.
Yeah, nice storm coming up on those Dragoons. Like you said, NbA should be able to hold this, but DarK did find a good angle to kind of come in there, kill some probes off. Don't know if he should be staying too much longer here. The army is good for NbA, but still that funnel positioning is really helping DarK out here. I really think he needs to like get out of here. He's just going to lose his whole army, and all of a sudden NbA is going to have a lot of army left over.
Oh, the shuttle barely makes it away. 2 High Templars come for some nice storms. And yeah, overall I would say still a good fight for DarK. NbA was ahead in supply before this, and now even some zealots harassing the probes here. The probe count, huge swing into DarK's favor, and also supply even in DarK's favor now. So this was an awesome attack, and I still have to say, I think NbA did it to himself there with producing the gateways, blocking the way for his own army.
Yeah, maybe he's just like, I need the room to put the gateways here. Seems like a good spot, but you can kind of see how it backfired on him when creating a little funnel that DarK was able to abuse. So nice of him to see that. Now we do have a DarK Archon in the mix. Of course, you don't always see that in PvP, but a lot of the times what it is going to be for here is just to feed back the High Templars and kill them off before they can get their storms out. So have to watch for that. Exciting to see when they do come out and do get those feedbacks off. But of course, NbA still had that 4th base up and running a little bit longer here. Looks like he's even setting up to take a 5th base before DarK as well. So this game looks to be in a fairly even position. I don't know upgrades. Looks like 2-2 for NbA. Not sure what they are on DarK side here. Looks like 2-0. So the upgrade advantage there, a couple upgrade advantage there for NbA could swing some of these fights a little bit more in his favor.
Yes, also we have some Archons some normal Archons in NbA's army, and that's definitely also something that can change a fight very easily for Protoss. So supply is not everything in PvP. The army value is also very important. We see the first feedback on a High Templar there, but I think it was on a High Templar that just stormed, right?
I'm not sure he killed the High Templar either way, and yeah, the Dark Archon did kill one, and then the other 2 High Templars got stormed, so no splash damage really, except for that one Reaver left for Dark, so nice little engage there. They're not going to commit to that full fight, but a good trade for NbA just killing those Templars off.
Yeah, and what we have not talked about is a potential 4th base location. So we see NbA taking the base there at the top position, and he also has some vision and some units running around on the bottom part of the map. So very nice, yeah, scouting for NbA here. DarK so far not that great, but he's getting into position to take the bottom left as the 4th base here as well.
Yeah, like early game, it did feel like DarK had the better build and the early advantages, but after the 3rd base location, it feels like, and after that attack, feels like NbA is just a little 1 step ahead, or half a step ahead here of DarK during a lot of this. Now, nice storms coming down here on a group of Dragoons and some Zealots here. Who's got the better trade? It looks like a much better arc in position here for DarK. Even a DT in the back, picking off some Dragoons here. No observers on NbA's side, so these Dark Templars doing work, and huge army left here for DarK, taking a pretty decisive fight here, and really cementing himself a little bit of a lead. You can see he's like 20 supply up with exact even worker count.
Yeah, concave is so important in PvP. I always stress it when I'm talking about this matchup with someone. It's so important, and we could really see it working great for DarK here, and also the 2DTs did so much damage. So I'm not sure if DarK even noticed it. I hope he did, and he makes an observer now, so that it doesn't happen in the next fight again.
Yeah, now one thing going for NbA, of course, is he does have that extra base up over DarK here at the moment. So if the base game continues on, he is going to have that economic advantage still moving forward. But with that big win, DarK does have the army advantage, so we'll see if he can use his advantage here to maybe take out a base or find somewhere he can attack and take a favorable trade and engage and press or cement his army advantage here a little bit further.
We see another attack here on NbA's side, and can NbA get to this position fast enough? Yeah, this time not really blocked by his own gateways that much, and I think he gets a really nice fight here now. It looks like not all units from DarK participating in the fight. The Reaver there on the left, some Zealots are already in the base, and he's not killing the base, but he completely lost his army for this.
Well, still some Dark Templars in there, no observers on NbA's side, so Dark Templars still doing work, but even still, it was not enough for DarK, and kind of negated his advantage there a little bit, right? Like, he wasted a bunch of Zealots, not really killing anything except for a few cannons, and then his army just kind of got destroyed since his whole army wasn't engaged at once. Now, Dark Templar are going to get up here. Oh no, is he going to notice? It looks like he does notice in time, so he should not lose too many probes, but where's the observers? NbA has just not had observers with his army here a few times, and these Dark Templars are getting so much value.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, like he didn't notice it seemingly in the first fight, or maybe not even in the second fight, but he notices it when the DTs run into the base before they even attack anything. He immediately pulled the probes. So that's kind of funny to me.
Yeah, it looks like Observer finally does come in to clean these Dark Templar. Oh no, one of them does get away with 12 kills there. So gonna have to be a little bit careful that comes back in, but in the meantime, DarK manages to get his own base here set up. No probes transferred over there to start mining just quite yet, but I imagine we'll get that over there soon. And once again, looking at the situation, supplies are pretty much even here. Looks like another Storm Drop may be coming out from NbA here in a minute. Upgrades probably still in NbA's favor here. Where are we at with those, if we can check maybe? Looks like, okay, yeah, 3-3 for NbA and 3-0, so DarK kind of neglecting the armor upgrades at all. We can still have that advantage here for NbA. I guess he only has one forge, no upgrades. Okay, we do have the first armor upgrade about to finish for DarK. no more upgrades coming out for NbA, so still the advantage there if the armies meet, but in saying that, the army for DarK has just shot up and he's now a little bit ahead in supply.
Yeah, but soon both will be max, so this will come down to a positional game from now on, and also to a game on which player can secure the next expansions. And if we look at the minimap here, or hold that thought, we will look at this drop first. We see the shuttle coming in, and Storm goes down.
Oh my god.
Very nice Storms. Only a few probes survive here. Good job. We see the probe count in the top right. 73 versus 50. Huge advantage here for NbA. Very nice.
Yeah, sometimes that can actually backfire in the sense that DarK will be able to produce a larger army now in the engage. I do feel like 73 probes might be a little bit too many just because your army's going to be smaller, especially compared to your opponent now. But we'll see how it goes. The engage here is coming down. This is actually a really good position for NbA in that concave. A couple of Reavers there, but they both get stormed. Oh, they do not die though. Still, a couple more Templar coming in. Where are the Storms? The Reavers are getting microed here now. But will it be enough? The positioning from NbA and the upgrades just a little bit too much for that army of DarK. So NbA pushing through there and now really has a fairly good supply advantage. Of course, we do have to remember about half of that is probes.
Yeah, we could also see NbA in that fight. He had 4 or even 5 Archons, not sure. DarK didn't have a single Archon, and you could see he just got crushed. And I feel like this could maybe be like the last attack. If this army gets crushed, NbA will be in a really good position. Another Storm drop here, another a good amount of probes killed. Oh, but DarK gets up onto this high ground. Reavers are unloaded, and NbA is not in position. This base is done, I think.
Yeah, and the reaction from NbA though is to go across the map and look, he's sending a couple of groups of units around here. Gonna take out this dead base. It's not really important to DarK at the moment, but if he can get up into the main base and start taking out production, that would be really good for him now. DarK does realize this, pulls up his own ramp to try and defend. Oh, Storm goes down. Oh, very nice Storm killing off Templar there, getting a lot of damage. And now this is going to allow NbA to push up into the main of DarK using that battery from the early game, but it's not going to be enough. A round of Zealots are coming out here from DarK, but I still don't think there's enough reinforcements. Some high Templar coming in, but where are the Storms? Oh no, where are the Storms? It looks like the Templar are going to get picked off before a Storm. And now with NbA up here, he's going to be able to stop the production of DarK, and he's got no units on the map. I think this is just going to snowball into GG right here.
Yeah, that looks to be the case here. There could be another round of like 12 Zealots that maybe push this back. So far, NbA is not reinforcing, and there is a Reaver coming.
GG.
Double Reavers, bro.
There's still no observers.
Still no observers. Okay, so it looks like DarK can somehow defend this base with the Reavers and the reinforcements, but yeah, look at the supply. This tells the story. This was a very, very, very effective trade for NbA, together with the nice Storm drops that he's doing. By the way, the shuttle's still there, ready for the next Storm drop. And also... Oh, very nice. Host
Thank you for the host, Dandy.
Thanks a lot, Dandy. For all the new viewers, we are watching the BSL14 GosuLeague, as you can see on the screen, round of 8 in our second match here. A very nice long game on Turbine. We don't see that every day.
Oh.
On another Storm drop. Man, NbA really doing so much damage.
I wish we could check how many kills that Templar has in that shuttle. But yeah, this game looks pretty much over. Yes, DarK managed to defend that attack with his DTs. I mean, we've seen NbA. I got to be critical of not having observers with his army all the time here. Like he has them now, but so many fights have been, swung in DarK's favor just because of those no observers. But I do feel like this is the end, right? Like his army's just so much bigger, his economy's just so much bigger. He's managed to secure a base at that bottom, in the bottom there, the 6 o'clock. So this has really got to be the last attack here. Really, like NbA is going to be able to clean up this army, I feel like, and at that point, DarK is just going to have to GG. He's going to have nothing left.
Yes, I mean NbA is already far ahead in supply, and with that bottom expansion, it's really DarK's job to change something about this situation, and I'm not sure if he can. He's probably hoping for another fight without observers, because he has a lot of DTs here, 6 DTs, but this time there's 3 observers. I mean, maybe they all get stormed, and DarK can win another fight, but the chances are very low here.
Well, some Zealots go up into that base, and that's going to trigger an engage here. Nice storms coming out from DarK, but will it be enough? It just feels like there's too much. And now there's actually no observers on DarK's side here with this army, and the DTs of NbA can kind of clean that up, except that he's running away from the fight, saying, okay, I got my damage done, I killed off this Nexus. Of course, we can see that this game is really in favor of NbA here at this point, but he doesn't necessarily know exactly his position, so he doesn't want to risk it. Retreats. I'm sure he knows he's ahead, but by how much, he's not entirely sure. Storms are going down here. This does feel like the last hurrah kind of move here for DarK. Once this army goes down, I would not be surprised to see him GG, or at least his reinforcing army, if he can't, you know, do something and kill NbA, which I do not think he'll be able to do.
Yeah, but this is a little bit close. We can see the supply of NbA also dropped to 100. He has no mining right now. I want to stress that here. He has no mining for NbA except that bottom base that DarK doesn't know about. So DarK thinks here that NbA has completely no mining. This top base was destroyed and all the other bases are mined out. So you can see DarK actually doing a lot here, and 64 supply of that 104 is still in probes for NbA. So NbA here on 40 army supply, while DarK is on like 30 army supply with 2 Archons. So it's kinda close, but yeah, in the end, of course, with that bottom expansion, NbA will shoot up again, while DarK will probably not shoot up that fast.
Oh, looks like he is going to catch a couple of Dragoons out here, so any free units that he can kind of pick off like this is always a good win for DarK, especially in this situation. But between the cannons and the reinforcing units from that base, like you said, I do not think that DarK has enough here. Some Dark Templar even coming out here. Hopefully he can get those in the fight, but Archon's going down, just a few handful of units here left for DarK. NbA will take this fight down. Now he can move out onto the map, and yeah, as expected, GG is called from DarK, so very nice game number 1, but NbA takes it down and takes the 1-0 series lead.
Yeah, very nice game for both players, really. We see a very economy-focused game on Turbine, of course, that's expected. But yeah, strong game for both players, and I'm looking forward to the next games.
Yeah, me too. That was, I mean, if the next games are going to be anything like that, we're in for a treat of a PvP series. Or, of course, there's always the chance, like we mentioned earlier, that someone could get some kind of a build order win type of game, especially on a map that's a more standard type looking map, where, you know, people aren't going to be going for necessarily 12 necks, or 12 necks can be easily punished. But it does look like our next map here is going to be Butter. Once again, so players actually maybe not banning this map, kind of prefer to play it. And I have played a few PvPs here myself. Can be pretty straightforward. You can play it straightforward, but there's some other options you can do here too.
Yeah, I think on PvP the map doesn't play a huge role, so I think it's more common that we see unusual maps played in PvP. But yeah, I think the same things that we talked about hold true for PvP as well. For example, armies can miss each other in the middle, or in the later parts of the game it can be very strong to hold the center, to have these high grounds that basically cover the left 3 expansions of the map.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll see how the players want to play it. I think we're probably about ready to jump into our game here. See if our players, or what our players have planned for us.
Yeah, we are jumping in. And here we go. In the top position on Butter, we have our red Protoss being ahead 1-0. It is NbA.
All right, and in the bottom right, it is our blue Protoss, CWT DarK. Now, we'll see what our players have planned. Will DarK be able to tie this series up, or will NbA take a 2-0 lead? I mean, this is a pretty important game, especially on DarK's side, right? If he falls down 2-0, it's going to be incredibly hard for him to come back and win, you know, 3 in a row. But if he can tie this up, then we got a real series on our hand here. So both players really want to win this game.
Yes. From my experience of meeting these two players in ladder or clan wars or anything like that, I feel like NbA is usually the player that plays safer, like he plays more economy focused, no big risk, no super aggressive strategies, while DarK is able to pull out like this 3-gate rune once in a while.
Okay.
So maybe we'll see this on Butter, because Butter has no ramp leading to the main base, so this could be an option here on this map.
Yeah, I was going to point that out too. Because there is no ramp here, this can definitely be played a little bit more aggressively. This does make that whole, rock, paper, scissory aspect a little bit stronger because you don't have the ramp to kind of retreat up into. It is still a small choke that you can defend, but we'll see now. In saying that, it looks like NbA wants to go for the 2-gate here. 10-12 looks like, so even scouting his own base for a proxy. Both players going for 2-gate, not entirely surprised. A lot of the times you'll see Protoss like to play 2-gate on 2-player maps, just because the chances are pretty high of some sort of like proxy, hidden proxy, 2-gate or whatever. So not actually too surprised to see both players just straight up going for 2-gate here, especially with that open ramp too, or no ramp to kind of defend up. It seems like a very solid choice.
Yeah, and also DarK did make a pylon in the edge of his main base. So you mentioned NbA scouting his own main base. DarK also did that with a pylon. So these are the little things that are the difference between a player that advances to the round of 8 GosuLeague and the player that maybe drops out in the round of 32 or maybe plays in HasuLeague.
Yeah, very good point. They're just very on top of their games, right? Like they realize this is a very real possibility and they're scouting for that possibility, right? Like, sure, you can not scout for it, take the risk and get that little bit extra mining income, but then the time that it does happen, you're just going to lose to it if you don't know what's coming, right? So both players playing very adept, realizing what is possible here. And so far, pretty much mirrored build situations. Does look like NbA is slightly ahead on probes here once again. I guess that was because the probe was scouting probe was picked off though. So yeah, both players, very mirrored situation. Even the core timings are pretty much exactly the same here.
Yeah, and we see the first 3 Zealots moving out for NbA. But of course, his probe is still alive in the main base of DarK, so he can see that DarK also has enough units. I mean, so far he has 1 Zealot chasing the probe and only 2 Zealots in the front, so maybe NbA could get a little fight of 3 versus 2 Zealots. But overall, we don't expect any major damage to be done here.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the first couple of Dragoons are only just being produced, so maybe, like you say, NbA can take a fight, maybe get in and kill a couple of probes or something, but I don't expect too much damage to be done. Does kill a probe that wanted to go scout, so he is going to get a bit of a surround here on that first Zealot, so nice first engage. A lot of times these battles come down to the control, and I'm going to say NbA is taking the engage really well here first, so picking off 1 Zealot, even going to pick off a 2nd Zealot, 3rd Zealot, so yeah, 3 Zealots for 0, but then with the Dragoons popping up here, you should be able to clean them up. So in the end, the trade out will be about the same, although NbA did manage to pick off a couple of probes, so maybe slightly advantage for him.
Yeah, but the probe count is still... Yeah, okay, there's 1 probe difference now for NbA, so not a huge deal. And we do see a 3rd gateway for NbA. There's no robotics, so this is like a 3-gate build, but it's not like a super all-in aggressive 3-gate. So this is a very late 3rd gate. This is probably just a reaction to what he scouted in the base of DarK. Yeah. He saw that there's no citadel, so he can just make a 3rd gate to have a little bit of a stronger presence on the map, and he's not scared of DTs.
Yeah, the very good point that you brought up, and I wanted to mention that too, was the big win for DarK there was, or NbA there, wasn't the fact that, he traded out his Zealots a little bit more effectively. It was the fact that he got that scouting information, right? He can confirm, okay, there's no DTs, I don't need detection, I'm going to get a 3rd gate and really power up on Dragoons and try and run over him that way. So just that scouting information alone is very important, especially in PvP. Scouting can make or break some situations. Now, we'll see what DarK wanted to go for, what his tech is. Is he going 3-gate himself? Is he going to add down that Robo? Go for Reavers probably? Yeah, okay, the Robo has started now. But we'll see. I mean, NbA is going to have a timing where he can get a contain or potentially push in, especially if DarK's not careful with how he controls his units and loses a few too many Dragoons early on.
Yeah, but I mean, so far the numbers are very similar. The third gate is still not here for DarK, so yeah, he has to be careful until the Reaver's done. There's the third gate now, and probably NbA will add the robotics instead a little bit later. Both players without the Nexus so far, so this is a little bit unusual. I think at this point in most of the games we see at least one player going for the Nexus, but both players just powering through on units here.
Well, NbA's coming across now with his Dragoon advantage. We'll see if he can get something done here. Like, he has full scouting. He knows that DarK was only on 2 gates and the robotics. That's not going to be done yet. So he does have the army count. A little bit of a running in a Congo line there, but still a few more Dragoons. We'll see how the control goes down here. So far, DarK is getting the better of the trades here. Despite having maybe a couple less units, it looks like DarK is coming way ahead. Those first two Zealots tanking a lot of damage here. Now the fight with the reinforcements is starting to go NbA's way, and I'd like to see DarK maybe pull back here, pick off those weak Dragoons if he can. He is going to retreat back into his main base, but with that Reaver coming out, once that pops out, he should be fine pushing back out here. Although, in saying that, few more Dragoons coming in, does look like NbA wants to try and force the issue here if he can.
Yeah, but it's hard to really get in here. Oh, okay, but he focused another Goon, so only one Goon and he can obviously out-micro the Zealots. So we could actually see a GG here for DarK very early, because the Reaver's not out. The Reaver should spawn any second, and if those 5 Goons kill the Reaver when it spawns, I think this would be GG. There are more Goons rallying in, there are 2 more coming, and these Goons are just getting picked off when they spawn out of the gateway. So I think, yeah, this is GG.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of mistake from DarK. GG is called. I think he should have pulled back just a little bit sooner, held his ramp, but he took that fight at the front of his base, which just allowed the reinforcing Goons of NbA to overpower him and take game number 2. So just like that, NbA is up 2-0, and DarK is on the ropes. He's got to win 3 in a row if he wants to stay in BSL this season.
Yeah, wow, very short days so far. Like, we could see both best of 5 and in 6 games total. That would be a little bit unfortunate, but I mean, now it's DarK's job to make sure this doesn't happen.
Yeah, and that really came down to NbA having that extra scouting information, right? He saw, okay, there's no DTs, there's nothing. I can put on a lot of early pressure. No Robo, he's not going to have Reavers for a while. So I really got to praise NbA for his scouting and reaction, and just taking advantage of the fact that he saw DarK was just not going to be ready for the amount of Dragoons he was going to be able to push out.
Yeah, for sure. And DarK maybe a little bit too, not playing safe enough with going out of his base before the Reaver's done. That's always a little bit risky. And yeah, he paid for it. So I hope he can change that in the third game.
Yeah, which is on, I'm not sure which map it's on. Looks like, okay, it will be on Eclipse. So another 2-player map. We haven't seen it today, of course, so most people are probably familiar with it. Another map where proxies can become a real possibility, so I expect both players will be scouting for that, at least in their main bases, maybe even both opening 2-gate as well. This is also a map with a little bit longer rush distance, so something like 1-gate Robo Expand can do very well here. But we'll have to see how the early game goes, how both players want to play it. I think we're probably about ready to jump in, unless you have anything else you want to add.
Yeah, no, I think this map is very common. Everyone knows it, so we are ready to jump in, I think. Okay, and here we go. In the top right, the player who only needs a single win to advance to the semi-finals of the GosuLeague, it is NbA.
All right, and in the bottom left, in the blue, it is DarK. Do or die time for him, right? Like, he has to win every game from here on out if he wants to stay alive. Knowing that, I wonder what kind of strategy we'll see from him. The pressure's definitely going to be on. What will he do? Will he be able to give us another game? I hope so, but this could potentially be our last game of the evening.
Yes, and while this game is still in the early phases, I want to mention this little thing in the bottom of the screen next to the minimap. We need your help to make BSL 15 happen. So if you have some spare cash at hand and you want to support the BSL and Zero with hosting these awesome tournaments for the community, definitely go to the link that was just put in the chat, the Stream Elements link, and you can contribute a little bit to the cause.
Yeah, good point. BSL, definitely a great community, a great tournament put on by Zero and the other admins. So continue to watch, continue to support this great game of StarCraft. Now, as we get back into the game, it does look like we once again a 2-gate coming out from NbA here. Is scouting his main base, so definitely playing very proxy aware. I know some Pluralist players just always go 2-gate on 2-player maps like this. NbA could be one of them. On Dark side, though, we do see the 1-gate going into gas, so he's going to be able to get some earlier tech out as long as he can defend the 2-gate pressure in time. And this being a slightly longer rush distance map, it should give him that little bit extra time he needs to help defend any zealots coming his way.
Yeah, and this will be a little bit of a micro battle. In the last game we saw NbA pretty much crushed the 3 zealot versus 3 zealot fight, and now if he has a 3 zealot versus like 1 zealot and 1 goon fight, maybe this could do some serious damage. But I'm sure DarK is aware of this. He's scouting the 2 gates, so I hope he plays it a little bit safer, maybe pulls the probe, maybe gets a little battery, and doesn't chase the probe around with one of the zealots.
Yeah, well, you can see this pylon placement from DarK. I like this placement, his second pylon there. He knows that there's 2 gates coming, and that position will allow him to get a battery near the ramp so he can defend his ramp with a shield battery and zealot and dragoon. I would also like to see him go out with his first dragoon to hit the zealots, but actually looking on NbA's side, he only made 1 zealot. He cut the 2nd and 3rd zealot, so he's not even going to really plan on pressuring. He does that seeing, okay, my opponent didn't go for 2-gate, he isn't proxying, and I just want to get my tech up instead.
Yeah, that's totally fine. What I also noticed, he was able to push the probe of DarK out of his base. So with only 1 zealot, with the 2-gate opening, your goon is a little bit delayed. So usually the probe can stay in the main for a long time, but in this case, DarK is outside of the base. So DarK was able to prevent scalding formation with only 1 zealot here. So yeah, he's totally fine taking up, and DarK didn't really see him skipping the zealots.
Yeah, now he should know because the zealot attack hasn't come and he had that probe outside, so he should realize, okay, he's not actually coming across the map. The zealots would already be out now. But DarK is doing one of these kind of reactions you'll see when you go for 1-gate tech against just straight up 2-gate, is going for fast CTs, right? This can be very punishing, and now if the Templar Archive starts before the Robo, then there's a chance these DTs can get in. Like, the timing on that is pretty much the Archives and the Robo have to start at about the same time for the obs to be out just in time to defend. Now, that Robo did start roughly about the right time here. So if NbA is really on top of it, gets his Observer out immediately, then I think that DT will be out just in the nick of time, Observer would be out just in the nick of time to kind of defend against this, at least to the point where he's not going to lose the game. Now, we'll have to see if DarK can get in and get some scouting. He tried to kind of do that. Doesn't look like he is going to get in and be able to confirm a Robo is started or anything. So nice plays there from NbA to kind of deny that scouting.
Yes, unit counts should be a little bit higher for NbA soon because he has the double gateway. So far we see 1 more goon for DarK with 3 zealots for NbA. So DarK can, with good micro, win this fight, but there should be 2 more goons coming very soon for NbA, and then DarK really has to be careful that he doesn't get overwhelmed by this bigger force of NbA. But yeah, NbA, as you mentioned, really has to start the Observer very quickly, or this game could end very quickly.
Well, there is the observatory. I think that started pretty much on time with the Robo finishing up here. So as long as that Observer isn't delayed at all, he should have the Observer coming out kind of as the DT gets there. But like I said, it is going to be close. That Robo was started just slightly after that Templar Archive, so it will be close. But I do think he should have that out in time to defend this attack. Like, the DT's not going to get a ton of damage done here as long as that Observer's already on the way.
Yes, and this could open the way for a possible counter attack. So when the observer is out and NbA already has the bigger army, there could be an option for a counter attack. We see 2 cannons for DarK, so this is probably enough, but maybe DarK NbA tries anyways and get some damage done. Let's see.
Yeah, look at that perfect timing on the observer popping up just as the DT was going up that ramp. So yeah, right on top of that now. I would actually have liked to see this. Yeah, okay, Storm has started now. I would have liked to see a couple of Templars already produced. DarK going for that like DT expand type play, which is definitely a fine way to play, but it can take a little bit of risk to a counter attack if NbA can get in there before Storm is ready. And Storm does look like it was delayed slightly here on DarK side, so that gives NbA a little bit of time if he wants to push across the map, but it looks like he is just going to be content to sit back there, get his own Nexus up, and just be a little bit behind economically.
Yeah, you definitely always have to wait for a second observer, because you need an observer if you want to go on the offensive, but then the DT could come back in, so you need a second observer for the defense. And wow, this observer, you see, this vision advantage for NbA can be so important, but the DT randomly running around there and scouting the army movement by NbA, that's crazy.
Yeah, very nice heads up play from both players. NbA trying to sneak around, does get out, and then DarK having a DT over there to scout for that. But now DarK is going to push in here, realizing, hey, the army left. Oh, nice target fire on that DT from NbA with his reinforcing goons and these probes here. I think he should be able to kill off this army of DarK. And now, because DarK lost this over on this side of the map, does he have enough to defend this counter? Look, he's taking it very seriously, throwing up some more cannons. I don't think Storm is quite ready yet. Okay, it is ready, but there's only enough for one Storm. Okay, one Storm does go down. Nice dodge there. Will this be enough? I don't know. This is going to be close. I think the cannons are going to finish just in time. They're even throwing a couple pylons to block those Dragoons. So yeah, just barely defending there. Very close. I did question throwing away those units, but it looks like DarK is going to hold it for now and be safe and have that little bit early extra eco. But of course, in saying that, NbA has his natural done as well, so shouldn't be too far behind in that regard.
Yeah, DarK, I mean, he built a lot of cannons in addition to the initial 2, and you could really see he needed that. Otherwise, he could have died immediately here. But yeah, in the end, he defends it, and I still have to say he's not in the best position here. Look at the supply; like we're 20 supply up for NbA. However, the worker count is ahead for DarK, and he has the option to go for a Storm Drop very soon, and we saw how much damage those Storm Drops can do in the last few games.
Yeah, and that is a good point you brought up with all those extra cannons that were kind of forced. That negates any economic advantage you would have had by having this earlier base, really. So you got to favor NbA a little bit in that sense. The fact that he was able to force all those extra cannons just because that Storm was slightly a little delayed. Like he should have had 2 or 3 Storms ready in time for that attack. He only had the one, but as it goes on, like he still got a few more probes on DarK side. We'll see if he gets some Storm drops off. Looks like NbA already preparing for this to happen by throwing a couple cannons down at the natural. I don't see a shuttle out just yet, but we do have those Templars available if he wants to go for that.
Yeah, it will come at some point for sure. First he gets his own observer, tries to clear any opponent observers, tries to get some vision himself, and then he will go into the shuttle later. But yeah, overall, NbA taking the 3rd base here. DarK so far has not. So, to be honest, I don't see almost any army for DarK. Like, DarK, I mean, he shot up in supply. He has a lot of gateways now, so I expect a lot of units queued up in gateways. NbA here on 5 gateways. I think DarK is on like 8 or 7. Yeah, wow. Even going up to 9 gateways here. DarK far ahead here, so he will shoot up in supply very soon, and then he will go for a huge 2-base attack, it looks like. So NbA going for a 3rd base, and DarK going for maybe kind of like a 2-base all-in even.
Yeah, so we'll see how these kind of gauge up against each other, right? Because he's powering so hard on 2 base, he is going to have that stronger mid-game army attack. But because NbA has that 3rd base already, his economy, so it's going to be on NbA to kind of defend this, right? It's going to be on him to hold his position until his 3rd base can really kick in and overpower. So what we're going to probably end up seeing is DarK move across the map here in a couple of minutes when he has a very strong army, and if he can try and bust through NbA. If NbA can defend this and hold that off, though, he's going to be in a much better position having that extra base. Oh, nice storm early on, catching that group of Dragoons there. A few free Dragoons, so that's really going to help the cause here of DarK when he's ready to push across the map.
Yeah, this could decide the game. Like, DarK could straight up win this, or if NbA defends, NbA is in such a good position with that 3rd base without DarK even having started his 3rd base. So this attack could mean a lot, and for the defense of NbA sides, Storms are always very good for defense, and we just saw the first High Templar going out for NbA. I hope the Storm is ready for him. In that case, I think he has a good shot at defending this. I think the upgrades, okay, they're 1-0 for both players, I think. Okay, it should finish any second for NbA here. This could decide the game, maybe.
Well, let's see. More Zealots in the mix for NbA. Of course, they're pretty good against Dragoons when there's no micro involved. Nice storms early on from NbA here, though. NbA is just getting a lot more storms off early on. I think he's got enough to defend this here. Yeah, he is forcing DarK back, and now you gotta think that DarK's in pretty bad position. He is taking his 3rd base. It's only about halfway done, but now NbA is going to have a little bit of a window here where he's going to be able to reduce more units and get a bigger army and kind of push back, and it's going to be up to DarK to defend. If he can't hold on, then NbA is going to be able to run him over here, but NbA is still pushing out. He wants to try again here. I don't know if this is going to be enough. There's no real Templars or splash damage here for DarK, but here comes the engage. Maybe a little bit better concave for DarK, but only Dragoons here. The Zealots are going to soak up a lot of damage and do a lot, getting on top of the army here of NbA. Is this going to be enough? I don't think so. It looks like NbA is going to crush through DarK's army here, and with that, you really got to favor NbA's position. Like, he's doing a nice kind of job microing on, getting as much value as he can here. There's just too much. But in comes some reinforcements now for DarK. This could potentially change the tide. NbA also sending in his own reinforcements. Mostly Zealots here against some Dragoons, but there's just too much extra army here for NbA. And with this, I do think that NbA is going to push him back and going to be an advantage. We could even see him pulling a pylon at that 3rd base. Excuse me, and starting to cannon rush here, DarK. And this is something you will see occasionally, especially when there's no army around. And yeah, a group of Zealots coming in here. This is looking bad for DarK. This could potentially just end it here if these cannons get up.
Yeah, he could just hold the ramp here. That's all he needs to do. He doesn't need to focus the Nexus with the Zealot. He just needs to hold the ramp. But okay, he's deciding to let the ramp fall and try to focus the Nexus, but that probably means that DarK will kill the Zealots and also barely kill the cannons here.
Yeah, I think you just got to cancel the cannons at this point. Looks like he does let them finish. They're not really going to get any value. 450 minerals for maybe a couple of hits off there. Not really worth it. I would have liked to see the cancel, but does not cancel. So DarK does defend for now, but still NbA going for that 4th base here. Maybe in a little bit of an advantage position. Like, you can see the supplies are pretty close. NbA up slightly in workers, which means DarK does have a slightly bigger army at the moment. But I don't think it's big enough that he can just run over NbA here. And with NbA just being like a base ahead constantly, at some point this is going to translate into him overwhelming DarK once he takes, if he can take a good enough trade or fight. Now he's also going to go for a storm drop, it looks like, himself, and we did see how effective those would be. If you can get a good storm off on like the 3rd base or something, that's just really going to put DarK behind even further.
Something that NbA might have used his resources on that we don't see in the supply numbers are the upgrades. So he's going for triple forge upgrades. Okay, but hold that thought, we have a little attack coming and NbA did not realize this. Can DarK kill the natural here or get into the main? That's a big question. A lot of units spawn from the gateway, so the ramp is blocked by NbA and now the army comes from behind. This could be a death sentence move for DarK here.
Yeah, a couple of storms went down on DarK's army, but no storms for NbA's army, and now the NbA is just going to be able to sandwich the army of DarK in here, and this could be like a game-ending move, right? Like you said, there's just nothing his army can do to escape. It's just going to get trapped in here and just destroyed. So when this is all said and done, NbA is going to have a lot more army kind of left over here and be in kind of a commanding position, especially being up a base.
Yeah, I mean, such a move, I mean, it can pay out and it can win you the game if you kill the natural, if you get into the main, because there are no
Storm drop.
reinforcements. Oh, storm drop!
Oh my god.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
After that
And that's
storm
it.
drop, he just GG's out. Yeah, you gotta feel like losing your whole army, then losing a probe line. It's like you feel like defeated at that point. So I can't blame him for GGing out there. But yeah, no, congrats to NbA. He does take down 3-0, so he will move on to that round of 4. And yeah, both players winning 3-0. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, very short day, very like unusual, of course. And also, I don't think we had like super clear favorites that we know from before the games. Okay, one player is so much stronger than the other player. No, I think we had pretty even players here, with both series ending up 3-0. This is kind of unexpected.
Yeah, I will agree with that, but that's the way it goes sometimes, right? So I do believe that means we will have NbA and Dsaqwe in that next match. So that will make Dsaqwe will have some PvPs to kind of look at here. He can look at this and see what NbA like to do, what he like to play, and kind of play around that. But NbA is going to have some experience playing PvP now in this round of 8. So going forward, so we'll see who can come out on top of that one. Should be a fun match either way.